Lu Yuan, did you honestly think I would ever sleep with you? I only treated you warmly day in and day out because your special talent helps us scavenge supplies. Don't flatter yourself otherwise. People who fawn relentlessly never end well, especially those desperate followers in the apocalypse. Even though you're gravely injured now, you'll never get your hands on the precious healing serum, not even after you were the one who found it. Enough talking to this guy, Weiwei. The three of us can build a far better life together without him. Rest easy now, Lu Yuan. As a final gesture, we'll leave you that electric massage device we looted from the supermarket earlier. Consider it a parting gift. Cruel jeers echoed clearly into Lu Yuan's ears. He could not bring himself to believe the woman who had clung to his chest every day could possess such a vicious side. Worse still, the two men he'd called his closest brothers just hours ago were openly growing intimate with the woman right before his eyes. Lu Yuan glanced down at the buzzing electric massage device tossed carelessly on the ground, then watched the three treacherous figures walk away, laughing loudly. Boundless rage burned fiercely inside his chest. At that very moment, a dormant item tucked inside his backpack began flickering with bright light. It was a reward he'd earned long ago during a mission, the game restart card. The card activated automatically once its owner amassed overwhelming resentment and hatred. Lu Yuan had bound the card to himself permanently and kept it hidden due to its harsh activation condition, so he had never handed it over to Li Weiwei back then. Weak and bleeding heavily, Lu Yuan failed to notice the card's strange reaction. One furious thought dominated his mind entirely. If I could turn back time, I would slaughter every last one of you with my own hands. Not a single one of you deserves to live. None of you will survive this. As Lu Yuan cursed Li Weiwei and the others with every fiber of his being, the game restart card burst into blinding radiance. A cold mechanical voice drifted hazily into his ears. Player resentment threshold met. Game restart card activated. In an instant, blazing white light swallowed Lu Yuan whole. Lu Yuan, you're a decent person, but after dating you for a while, I've realized we aren't compatible with each other. When the light faded, this familiar voice pulled Lu Yuan back to his senses. He opened his eyes and found himself seated inside a milk tea shop, with a beautiful young woman sitting across the table. It was none other than his ex-girlfriend Hu Xiaoyan. I see what they say about life flashing before your eyes as you die is actually true. Convinced he was experiencing final hallucinations before death, Lu Yuan let out a bitter laugh and retorted, I suppose your beloved best friend put you up to this. Just like her, you're nothing but a hypocrite. Hu Xiaoyan stared at him in utter shock upon hearing his harsh words. Lu Yuan, what on earth are you saying? How could you speak to me like this? Even if we can't stay together romantically, we can still remain friends. Lu Yuan shot abruptly to his feet the second she responded to his rant. Glancing at the crowds wandering past the shop windows, he recalled the system announcement he'd heard moments ago and grasped the truth. He had been reborn into the past. To confirm his suspicion, he raised his hand and slapped Hu Xiaoyan across the face. Seeing her clutching her cheek in shock erased all doubt. Rebirth was real. The game item really delivered on its promise. Don't scare me like this. I only ended our relationship. There's no reason you can't accept staying on friendly terms. Hu Xiaoyan held her stinging cheek, her voice trembling with suppressed tears, desperate to calm the agitated man in front of her. She assumed the rejection had shattered his heart and driven him to irrational behavior. In truth, her offer of friendship was merely a temporary ploy to pacify him. She planned to delete every trace of his contact information and block him entirely once she left the shop for good. She never feared retaliation from Lu Yuan. Based on everything she knew about his timid personality, he would never dare take hostile action against her. She resolved to endure the stinging slap for the time being. Friends? Save the empty lies for someone gullible enough to buy them. Lu Yuan scoffed coldly at her words, ignored her completely, and bolted straight out of the milk tea parlor. He had far more urgent business to attend to. Hunt down Li Weiwei and make her pay for everything she had done to him in his past life. The global apocalyptic disaster had struck on this exact day, moments after Hu Xiaoyan broke things off with him. Every human being on Earth was suddenly transported onto a boundless ocean as official players of a universal survival game. Each person was randomly assigned an individual vessel of varying designs and sizes to survive amid the endless seas. Upon entering this maritime apocalypse, every player awakened a unique supernatural talent. A player's talent was determined by the very last book they finished reading right before being pulled into the game world, with talent tiers varying drastically based on the book's content. Some who had read textbooks on breeding awakened expert-level livestock rearing abilities. Those well-versed in mechanical engineering became unmatched equipment repair specialists. Readers of Tao Te Ching gained purification powers capable of cleansing all forms of corruption and poison. Naturally, fortune was not evenly distributed across all players. One man who finished an adult illustrated novel gained a misleading charm ability, marking him as a pariah hunted by every survivor group. Another person who studied rhetorical boasting tactics unlocked an overwhelming verbal persuasion skill, becoming an unrivaled orator on the open ocean. Students buried in exam preparation reference books obtained an ability to force opponents into completing exam questions nonstop for 3 full minutes. In his previous life, Lu Yuan's final read was a history of espionage, granting him an A-rank camouflage detection talent. The skill allowed him to alter his physical state freely while gathering intelligence and scavenging rare resources, placing him among the most powerful players in the early apocalypse. Back then, fresh from his painful breakup with Hu Xiaoyun, Lu Yuan wallowed in heartbreak and never recognized how powerful his ability truly was. Later, he fell for Li Weiwei's fabricated kindness and gentle demeanor, reverting to his old subservient habits once more, only to be discarded ruthlessly like trash in his final moments. Looking back on his past choices now, Lu Yuan could only label his former self an utter fool. Lu Yuan, wait a second. Lu Yuan had stepped onto the street, ready to rush back to campus to confront Li Weiwei, when Hu Xiaoyun chased after him frantically. What do you want? Lu Yuan fixed her with a frigid glare. Hu Xiaoyun shuddered involuntarily at the drastic shift in the man who had once catered to her every whim without complaint. We live under the rule of law now. Don't do anything reckless or violent. She swallowed hard and forced out the warning, unnerved by his menacing aura. His current demeanor unsettled her deeply. She worried his heartbreak over their split would push him to commit crimes that would drag her into trouble as well. Lu Yuan froze briefly at her warning before a critical realization sank in. He had returned to the present timeline, and there was no absolute guarantee the apocalypse would unfold exactly as it had before. If he attacked Li Weiwei and her accomplices right now, yet the disaster never arrived, he would be charged with homicide and locked away for life. Even if the apocalypse did manifest on schedule, he would end up imprisoned and lose every advantage his rebirth had gifted him. I can't strike them down right now. I need to maximize every benefit my second chance affords me. There will be endless opportunities to get revenge on Li Weiwei once the world collapses into chaos. A cold smirk tugged at Lu Yuan's lips. The open ocean wasteland would grant him countless chances to settle his scores. He refocused his gaze on the flustered Hu Xiaoyun standing before him. What exactly did you say just now? Lu Yuan spoke each word slowly and sharply. I said we could still be friends. She grew confused by his odd line of questioning, but repeated her earlier statement anyway. Your previous sentence. We aren't suited for one another. Hu Xiaoyun mustered up the courage to reiterate her decision. Understood. Hand over the gold bracelet and the smartphone I bought you. Those gifts were given with the intention of building a lifelong marriage, so I have every right to reclaim them. Lu Yuan had spotted the expensive smartphone on her hand and the gold bracelet wrapped around her wrist, jogging a painful memory from his past life. He had worked night shifts delivering takeout food for 2 whole months to afford those 2 pricey gifts for her, yet never demanded their return when she dumped him originally. Cursing his own naivety from his past life inwardly, Lu Yuan hardened his tone when he saw her stunned expression. Did you not hear what I just said? You're being completely unreasonable. Hu Xiaoyun was left speechless and furious by his sudden demand for her gifts back. Lu Yuan scoffed at her hesitant reaction. In one swift motion, he snatched the gold bracelet off her wrist, grabbed the smartphone from her grasp, removed his SIM card and tossed it back to her, then turned and walked away without another word. You're such a terrible, unreasonable man. Hu Xiaoyun stamped her feet on the pavement and shouted furiously at his retreating figure. Lu Yuan paid no mind to her angry outburst. His sole priority was leveraging his foreknowledge to secure every possible advantage ahead of the apocalypse. His first order of business was earning quick cash to purchase durable, practical outdoor gear. When the apocalypse commenced, every human was instantly teleported away from their physical surroundings into the ocean survival realm without warning. Some players were pulled into the game mid-shower, others during private moments in their daily lives. Lu Yuan had been sleeping in pajamas when he was abducted in his first life, wasting precious early survival time sourcing proper clothing and protective gear. With this in mind, he sold the recovered gold bracelet and smartphone immediately, then headed straight to an outdoor apparel store in the city center to stock up on professional windproof jackets and protective equipment. An hour later, fully outfitted with reliable survival gear, Lu Yuan made his way toward the university library by taxi, determined to select the perfect book for his apocalyptic talent awakening. His university was a well-known comprehensive institution within the province, boasting one of the most extensive library collections in the region. He was certain he could find a book that would grant him an overwhelming head start against all other players. He stepped out of the taxi and glanced upward toward the sky on impulse. The atmosphere hung heavy with an unnatural gloom, while flocks of birds streaked across the murky sky one after another, amplifying the oppressive tension hanging over the city. Lu Yuan exhaled slowly to calm his racing thoughts. Now was not the time to dwell on anxious premonitions. Ignoring the bustling students hurrying along the paths, he strode quickly into the ground floor of the library. Standing before the directory board, he brainstormed frantically to pick the optimal reading material. From his past experience, a player's talent stemmed directly from their final completed book before the game launch. Though the specific trait drawn from the text was random even for two people reading the exact same book, this left him with two viable options. Pick a heavily illustrated publication with minimal written content, or select a text filled with powerful, legendary lore, guaranteed to spawn a formidable talent no matter which element the system extracted. After careful consideration, he settled firmly on the second option. No player in his past life had unlocked elite-tier abilities from picture-heavy books, and he refused to gamble his second life on blind luck. Which book should I choose then? Lu Yuan's eyes swept across the library directory until a line of small text caught his eye. Lecture series, mythological novels, Journey to the West. Journey to the West. Lu Yuan's body jolted with realization the moment he saw the title. It was the ideal choice by far. The classic epic brims with divine magical arts, heavenly artifacts, and supreme mythical power. No matter what ability the system derived from its pages upon game activation, the talent would undoubtedly be extraordinary. Without further hesitation, Lu Yuan sprinted to the corresponding bookshelf and retrieved a copy of Journey to the West. He finished the borrowing formalities just as the library's closing announcement echoed through the building. Attention, all patrons. The library will be closing shortly. Please vacate the premises within the next 10 minutes. Thank you for your cooperation. Lu Yuan glanced at the wall clock. The hands pointed directly to 6 o'clock in the evening. 6 hours remaining, plenty of time to prepare. He left the library and headed for a nearby hotel, booking the highest grade suite available. If the apocalypse struck tonight as it had before, he wanted a quiet, private space to wait out the final hours peacefully. After showering, Lu Yuan sat at the room desk and opened the ancient novel, starting with Chapter 1. The Divine Stone Bears Life. Mind cultivation breeds immortal roots. As the clock hands slowly aligned at midnight amid his tense wait, low resonant booms echoed outside the window. Boom, boom, boom. Lu Yuan turned to stare out the window. The dark night sky had morphed into a sickly blood-red hue for unknown reasons. Right after, a familiar voice resonated deep within his mind. Welcome to the global maritime survival world. This is a survival game imposed upon the entirety of humanity. Regardless of your former social standing, wealth, or physical condition, your sole identity from this moment onward is a registered player. The system will now analyze the last book each player read to allocate individual supernatural talents. Player: Lu Yuan detected reading material. Journey to the West. High-tier literary work detected. Elevating system scanning clearance. Scanning source material, please wait. Lu Yuan stiffened slightly in his chair upon hearing the system's stunned reaction to his book selection. Seconds later, the mechanical voice sounded once more inside his consciousness. Scanning complete. Allocating exclusive talents to player Lu Yuan. The lingering unease in Lu Yuan's mind faded completely upon hearing the prompt. The system's shocked tone alone confirmed he had made the perfect choice. Talent: all souls converge to origin description. Defeating NPCs or rival players grants permanent bonus attribute points. Rank: SSS tier evaluation. Sun Wukong was born drawing nourishment from heaven and earth essence. Similarly, every living being you eliminate will serve as nourishment to strengthen your stats. Unleash your power through combat and conquest. Talent: Golden Staff Oath description. You can automatically generate spiritual binding contracts with other players of the opposite gender. Each contract unlocks a mutated version of their original talent for your use. Regardless of their physical location, contracted partners will be teleported to your vessel automatically. Deeper spiritual bonds forged through consistent companionship raise the multiplier for rewards you receive whenever your contracted allies open treasure chests or claim game spoils. Rank: SSS tier evaluation. Sun Wukong repeatedly broke through his limits amid heartfelt bonds and attachments, surging in combat strength each time. Deep, sincere emotional connections between you and your contracted partners will maximize this ability's effectiveness. Lu Yuan could only stare in stunned silence after processing his two newly awakened talents. Such powerful dual abilities were unheard of in the game world. In his previous life, the strongest talent any survivor ever possessed was a single SSS tier skill. To receive two top-grade SSS talents at the very start was nothing short of heaven-defying luck. All souls converged to origin turned every living creature in the ocean world into a source of power to fuel his own growth. Golden Staff Oath functioned similarly to forming bonded spirit companions. Lu Yuan shook off his momentary surprise and quickly remembered to check his base character statistics. Damn it! Facing the vicious, mutated rooster bearing down on him, Lu Yuan pulled out the axe he had prepared long ago and hurled it straight at the creature's head. Screech! Bolstered by his enhanced physical physique plus experience accumulated from the game in his past life, the axe landed cleanly into the rooster's neck. The mutated rooster let out a shrill cry before plummeting straight down from the sky. Lu Yuan knew the strike had only dealt severe damage, not a killing blow. The game system would send out a notification the moment the monster died. Without lingering to confirm the foe's condition, Lu Yuan spun on his heel and sprinted full speed back toward his raft. Seconds later, he stumbled onto the raft, gasping for breath. Phew, that was a close call. He sprawled flat on the wooden planks, his heart still pounding with lingering terror. I need to get far away from this dangerous area. After catching his breath briefly, he grabbed the oars and rowed the raft away from the harbor. All right, time to see what rewards this level 3 treasure chest holds. He rowed for more than 10 minutes until he anchored in a calm, sheltered stretch of open water, then turned his gaze to the treasure chest he'd fought so hard to obtain. Kneeling before the chest, Lu Yuan muttered a quick prayer, hoping his usual lucky streak would kick in once more. Ding! You have opened a level 3 treasure chest. Obtain supplies. Lumber times 300, metal times 300, plastic times 300, LV2 upgrade blueprint times 1, Type 92 pistol times 1, universal bullets times 50. Unbelievable. I hit the jackpot. Staring at the rewards in stunned delight, Lu Yuan jumped high into the air. Not only did he gather all the materials required for a vessel upgrade, he'd also gotten a handgun as an unexpected bonus. If someone asked Lu Yuan what mattered most in this doomsday survival game, his answer would always be weapons. As long as you possess sufficient firepower, you can gather endless resources as the game progresses. After all, armed strength secures steady supplies in this brutal world. Setting the pistol aside, he unrolled the upgrade blueprint. Ding! Upgrade requirements fully satisfied. Proceed with immediate upgrade? Upgrade right now. A grin spread across Lu Yuan's face at the system prompt, and he confirmed the upgrade process. Instantly, all the piled-up materials on his raft were absorbed into the blueprint, which shimmered with pale golden light. Minutes later, the blueprint condensed into a beam of golden light that shot into the center of his raft. A series of clanking metallic noises echoed out as Lu Yuan watched his raft transform. The rough log raft slowly morphed into a metal hull beneath the golden radiance. The flat deck expanded in size, with the edges curving gently upward to form the basic shape of a proper boat. When the transformation finished, Lu Yuan, who had mistakenly called himself Chu Tian for a split second, chuckled and prepared to check the new stats of his upgraded level 1 boat. When the system voice echoed inside his mind. Ding! Captain has successfully upgraded the vessel to LV1. Commencing passive trait roll. A golden roulette wheel materialized in front of Lu Yuan the second the system message faded. It spun violently on its own without any input from him and gradually ground to a halt, the red pointer locking onto one section of the wheel. Boundless endurance. Ding! Congratulations, Captain. You have acquired your first trait, Boundless Endurance. Boundless Endurance. Affix this trait to any onboard equipment to grant infinite output from that device. Examples include an unlimited water purifier, an inexhaustible fuel tank, or a pistol with endless ammunition. The trait can be reallocated to other equipment, with a 24-hour cooldown after each transfer. Apply the trait now? I've struck absolute gold. Lu Yuan trembled with excitement as he read the trait description carefully. Hold on. I'll first review the full changes brought by the boat upgrade before using this trait. He quickly calmed down amid his elation. His vessel had just finished upgrading, and he needed to understand its baseline performance before wasting such a powerful passive ability carelessly. Opening his nautical log, he pulled up the detailed specifications for his newly upgraded craft. Vessel name: small iron boat tonnage, 0.1 level, LV1 durability, 70 mounted weapons, none physical defense, 40 can barely withstand attacks from low-tier, mutated creatures' magical resistance. 0 No methods to gain magical resistance have been discovered yet. Storage capacity: 20 units. Description: at the very least, your raft has received a major overhaul. Best of luck navigating the seas ahead. After skimming through the updated stats, he saw clear improvements. Yet the vessel was still far too fragile to guarantee his survival in the coming trials. He then checked the available auxiliary upgrade options. Seawater desalination unit. Lumber times 50, metal times 50, plastic times 50. Description: basic desalination equipment that requires routine maintenance to function properly. Captain's quarters. Lumber times 100, metal times 100, plastic times 50. Description: a private resting space for the captain to recover stamina and mental fatigue. Faced with these two unlockable upgrades after reaching level 2, Lu Yuan picked the desalination unit without hesitation. In this doomsday ocean survival scenario, resources are the top priority, and fresh water is the most irreplaceable necessity of all. Having endured harsh living conditions throughout his previous life, he could afford to put a private resting cabin on the back burner for now. The moment Lu Yuan confirmed construction for the desalination unit, clanging construction sounds erupted from the stern of his boat. A few minutes later, a waist-high desalination unit stood fully assembled on his deck. I'll attach the boundless endurance trait to this machine for starters. After verifying the desalination unit operated normally, Lu Yuan made up his mind to bind his newly obtained trait to the equipment. Since the trait could be moved freely later, securing an endless supply of fresh water was the most practical first move. Ding! Boundless endurance successfully bound to the seawater desalination unit. This device will now produce unlimited fresh water indefinitely. With the trait activated, Lu Yuan turned his attention to the pistol looted from the treasure chest. Firearms were extremely valuable commodities in this ocean survival world. He smoothly loaded rounds, disengaged the safety, and racked the slide, aiming the barrel toward the distant sea horizon. Splashing sounds rippled across the water. Just as he itched to fire the weapon at some sea creature, the fishing rod he had mounted at the bow suddenly jerked sharply. Nice catch! Lu Yuan hurried to the bow with brightened eyes, reeling in the fishing line while keeping his pistol raised and aimed at the water's surface. After several minutes of a tug-of-war with whatever was hooked, a grotesque mutated anglerfish broke the water's surface. Ding! You have been exposed to the mutated anglerfish's mental corruption. Sanity stat reduced by 1 point. Not good. Reacting instantly to the system warning, Lu Yuan squeezed the trigger without a second thought. Bang! 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 3 gunshots struck home, and the thrashing mutated anglerfish went limp immediately. Ding! Obtain 2 portions of raw fish meat. Warning! The meat is fresh, yet consuming it may trigger unknown adverse physical or mental effects. He stored the fish meat inside the iron boat's storage space after reading the warning label. Based on past experience, the flesh of mutated sea life usually corrupts human mental stability, so eating it was only a last resort option. Enough work for one day. Let's check what the other survivors are up to. He tossed the fishing line back into the ocean and opened the public chat channel on his nautical log to browse the ongoing conversations. This had been a small hobby of his in his past life. The other players in the chat reminded him of witty, lively readers back in his original world, always bringing small moments of joy to his monotonous survival days. Since the game had only just begun, he expected the chat to be filled with all kinds of wild theories and funny remarks from the stranded survivors. He opened the chat interface and was immediately met with a flood of messages scrolling nonstop. Random player A. Does anyone have spare fresh water? I'm willing to trade whatever I can offer for it. Random player B. What goods are you offering in exchange? Random player A. Would a photo of myself work? Random player B. That's completely useless to me. Wealthy player A. Anyone with drinkable water or food. I'll pay you real-world cash. Wealthy player B. Buddy, have you never read apocalyptic novels? The old monetary system is worthless in this world. Drop your wealthy privilege mindset already. Wealthy player A. You're asking for trouble. Share your coordinates if you dare. I'll hunt you down given the chance. Wealthy player B. Catch me if you can. Lu Yuan let out a faint chuckle watching the chaotic pleas and bickering flooding the channel, then glanced over at his endlessly producing desalination unit. I could trade surplus fresh water for building materials. An idea popped into his head amid the chaotic chat logs. With an infinite source of fresh water at his disposal, plenty of desperate players would surely trade valuable crafting materials to get drinking water. He quickly posted a trade notice in the public channel. Trading fresh water for upgrade materials. Bring your own water containers. Send private messages with your proposed offers. The entire chat channel fell silent for a few seconds after the post went live before erupting into mass excitement. Random player D. Who is this high-level survivor? How can someone be this well supplied on the very first day? Random player C. Senior survivor. Do you need an extra helper to work aboard your ship? I'll offer my labor freely. Lu Yuan ignored the flood of flattering comments and switched to his private message inbox to sort through legitimate trade requests. Li Tian. Senior survivor. I don't have many usable materials right now. Could I trade my physical labor for fresh water? Attached to the message was a photo of a stocky, sturdy young woman with a small frame. Lu Yuan. My vessel has no need for extra laborers at this moment. He blocked the sender right away, relieved to close out that conversation, and continued scrolling through his private messages. Zhang Long. Hello, Lu Yuan. This is Zhang Long. I'd like to trade lumber for fresh water if you're open to the deal. Scrolling further down the list, Lu Yuan found a sincere trade request from someone he recognized, a former school classmate. He had never been a social person back in school and had no close friends, so he intended to keep the trade strictly business regardless of their past acquaintance. Lu Yuan. What's your proposed exchange rate? Zhang Long. Would 50 units of lumber per bottle of water be acceptable? Lu Yuan suspected Zhang Long had stumbled upon some valuable hidden reward, judging by his generous offer, so he decided to test his price ceiling. 100 units per bottle, Lu Yuan replied after a short pause. Deal. I'll purchase 5 bottles total. To Lu Yuan's surprise, Zhang Long agreed to the higher price without hesitation. He must have gotten his hands on some powerful resource-generating item. Lu Yuan scratched his head, mildly regretting not setting an even higher price, yet upheld his end of the bargain out of basic good faith after preparing 5 bottles of fresh water and initiating the trade. Ding. Trade completed. You have received 500 units of lumber. Zhang Long messaged him immediately after the transaction finished. Let's work out more trades in the future if possible. Lu Yuan replied. Sounds good. His suspicion solidified. Zhang Long most likely owned a passive item that generated lumber non-stop, mirroring his own infinite freshwater source. Setting aside thoughts about Zhang Long's secret loot, Lu Yuan lingered in the public chat to observe other players' interactions when a valuable piece of information caught his eye. By Shui. I possess an energy core. Anyone willing to trade essential survival supplies for it? Ma Guanghao. If it isn't the dance department's most popular student, I can provide food rations if you agree to follow my requests. Why are you begging for resources in public chat now? Bai Shui. Leave me alone, Ma Guanghao. I'd rather jump overboard into the open sea than accept any exploitative trades from you. Ma Guanghao. Brave stance as always, Bai Shui. I'll be waiting patiently for you to change your mind. Lu Yuan's eyes lit up the second he read the words energy core. The energy core was a mandatory crafting material required to upgrade a vessel from level 2 to level 3, and Bai Shui had managed to obtain one on the game's first day. Most players were still disoriented and confused by the sudden apocalyptic ocean game, meaning very few people would recognize how vital the energy core truly was. Not wasting any time, Lu Yuan sent Bai Shui a private message. Lu Yuan. Senior schoolmate. Would you consider trading your energy core for freshwater supplies? Bai Shui had seen Lu Yuan's public trade post earlier, but never imagined someone would exchange precious drinking water for an energy core, which the nautical log only labeled as a vessel power module that her tiny wooden punt could never utilize. Driven to desperation by severe thirst, she had posted the core for trade with little hope of a reasonable offer. She grew instantly relieved upon receiving Lu Yuan's private message. Bai Shui. Absolutely, senior. What amount of fresh water are you offering? Name your price first, Lu Yuan prompted. 5 bottles of water. Bai Shui responded tentatively. 4 bottles total, Lu Yuan countered without delay. Even with unlimited fresh water production, he saw no reason to give away his resources freely. This haggle also let him gauge whether Bai Shui understood the core's actual high value. After a moment of quiet hesitation, Bai Shui accepted the terms. Ding. Trade completed. You have obtained 1 energy core. Lu Yuan inspected the energy core to confirm its integrity before storing it safely in his nautical log storage compartment. As he prepared to scan the chat for more worthwhile trades, he suddenly remembered his second innate ability, Golden Staff Binding Seal. He figured he could test this ability on Bai Shui while he had free time, so he activated the ability, summoning a parchment contract scroll into his hands. He unrolled the scroll to read its contents first. Contract clause. I voluntarily swear to serve Lu Yuan loyally, obey all his orders and commands, and never betray him for as long as I live. That's all it says? Lu Yuan stared at the plain single sentence written on the parchment, stunned for only the second time since arriving in this game world to question the authenticity of the entire survival system. Whether the magic is genuine or not, sending the contract costs me nothing to try. He shrugged off his doubts after a few heartbeats and sent the trade request containing the contract to Bai Shui. Ding! You have received an incoming trade request. Bai Shui nearly spilled the fresh water she was sipping when the system notification popped up abruptly. The past 24 hours had been nothing short of hellish for Bai Shui. As a well-regarded dance student admired by countless peers back in her original world, she had been abruptly pulled into this brutal ocean survival game, bombarded with invasive private messages from other players ever since the moment she logged in. Show me your appearance if you want food from me. Send over photos of yourself for basic supplies. Call out to me nicely, and I'll share my preserved rations. Raised in a wealthy household, Bai Shui had never endured such relentless harassment. She had eventually tossed her nautical log aside out of utter frustration. Her despair deepened not only from the toxic harassment in public chat, but also from her starting vessel, a tiny, flimsy wooden punt. Even with a pair of oars, she barely had the physical stamina to row any meaningful distance across the rough ocean waves. She was on the brink of total hopelessness when the trade system notification chimed. Ding! A player wishes to trade for your energy core. Accept or decline. Tears of relief welled up in her eyes. She had assumed the energy core she picked up was a useless trinket with no practical function, yet someone was actively willing to trade vital fresh water for it. She recognized the sender's username, Lu Yuan. She faintly recalled him as a quiet, unassuming schoolmate who had worked as a backstage crew member during her school festival performance. She never expected this quiet boy to reach out to her with a trade offer. Could he have some special advantage in this game as well? Bai Shui wondered silently. Yet overwhelming thirst left her with no mental energy to dwell on the thought. She negotiated the trade terms briefly and exchanged her energy core for 4 bottles of fresh water. Phew, I hope I can pull through this. Bai Shui took a slow sip of water and bit into the whole wheat bread she'd gotten from the newbie starter pack. A surge of grief and resentment welled up inside her. Ding! A player wishes to initiate a trade. View the request? Just as Bai Shui was seething with frustration, a notification chimed from her voyage log once again. Huh? Someone wants to trade with me? Confused, Bai Shui opened her voyage log, and a contract drafted by Lu Yuan popped up on her interface instantly. I voluntarily become the servant of Lord Lu Yuan, obey all his instructions and orders, and shall never betray him for eternity. After reading the terms on the contract, Bai Shui's face flushed crimson before darkening with rage. Damn you, Lu Yuan. I thought you were an upright person, but you're just a despicable creep after all. This contract was nothing short of an insult to her dignity. If she knew where Lu Yuan was right now, she would have charged straight at him to fight. Block him right now. What a terrible guy, utterly repulsive. Bai Shui quickly tapped the menu icon on their trade window and blocked Lu Yuan without hesitation. Ding. Trade failed. Player Bai Shui has blocked your account. Lu Yuan was chatting in the public group and exchanging water resources when the alert popped up. He froze for a second, then let out an amused chuckle. She's got quite a temper. I like that. He muttered the words to himself and returned to chatting in the channel. Leveraging his stock of fresh water, he soon bartered for a batch of valuable supplies. Satisfied with his gains, Lu Yuan opened his voyage log to check his inventory storage. Lumber times 700, metal times 600, plastic times 500, energy core times 1. Nice. I'll be able to get a proper night's sleep tonight. With sufficient materials on hand, Lu Yuan opted to construct and upgrade a captain's quarters through the voyage log. A flash of golden light streaked across the air after he confirmed the upgrade, and Lu Yuan watched his tiny iron boat undergo physical transformation. The flat hull of the iron vessel slowly expanded outwards. Minutes later, chunks of lumber and metal materialized from the voyage log, assembling themselves onto the newly extended frame. A cloud of mist billowed shortly afterward, revealing a solid enclosed cabin built amid the iron boat's deck. Not bad at all. Smiling in approval at the door and fitted windows, Lu Yuan pushed the door open and stepped inside. The cabin was plainly furnished, a desk, a single chair, and a kerosene lamp casting dim yellow light atop the desk. On the opposite side stood a 2-meter bed. Though it lacked a mattress, this living space was far better than what most surviving players had managed to secure. He lay back casually on the bed and reopened the Voyage Log's public chat channel. After a full day of hardship, many timid players were begging for handouts in the public channel, hoping some sympathetic stranger would come to their rescue. Random player A. Could any kind soul spare some food? I haven't eaten a thing all day. Random player B. Nice try. I fought tooth and nail for my supplies. Why would I just hand them over? Go scavenge for your own food if you're hungry. Random player C. Exactly. Moral blackmail doesn't work here. I've got no sympathy to spare for anyone. This is entertaining. Lu Yuan grinned as he scrolled through the public messages. Showing blind compassion was the deadliest mistake anyone could make in this survival game. He lingered in the chat for a while longer before closing the interface. Rest was his top priority now. Tomorrow marked the second day of the newbie protection period, and there was a coastal port waiting to be explored. Fully clothed, he laid on the bed and stared up at the wooden ceiling, lost in quiet thought. Having a roof to shield himself from wind and rain was already a luxury most players could only dream of in this cruel ocean world. Letting go of any foolish urge to help strangers, Lu Yuan drifted off to sleep soon after. The night passed without incident. Early the next morning, Lu Yuan stretched and sat up from his bed. His first order of business was checking the fishing pole fixed to his boat's bow to see if anything had bitten overnight. Walking to the bow, he noticed the fishing line was pulled noticeably lower than it had been the previous night. Got a catch. The dip in the line told Lu Yuan he had reeled in something, most likely a treasure chest. Wasting no time, he hauled hard on the pole and dragged the submerged object onto the deck. Whoa, a Tier 2 treasure chest. Score. It took considerable effort to pull the heavy chest aboard the boat. Fingers crossed for food supplies. With that wish in mind, Lu Yuan pried open the lid of the Tier 2 chest. Ding. You have obtained self-heating hot pot times 10, instant noodles times 10, mineral water times 10, ham sausages times 10, marinated eggs times 10. This is a massive windfall. Lu Yuan's face lit up with excitement at the loot. Coupled with his infinite seawater desalination device, these provisions gave him a stable foundation to survive comfortably. Ding. The system will now announce the overall conditions of Day 1. Please check your voyage log for full details. Right after Lu Yuan stowed his new supplies into storage, the system voice echoed inside his head once more. He pulled up the voyage log and navigated to the designated system page. Current time, Day 2. Region code, C857857. Weather today, clear skies, 20 degrees Celsius, northerly wind. Surviving players, 99,900/initial 100,000. Port spawn countdown, 6 hours remaining. Total duration of the Ocean Voyage Challenge, 9 days left. As a reward for surviving your first day in the game, a random treasure chest has been deployed near your coordinates. Retrieve it at your leisure. Lu Yuan sighed softly after reading the notice. Though all players were under newbie protection, death was still very much a possibility. Some people had succumbed to the overwhelming pressure and taken their own lives. Others had drowned or run into fatal hazards during land exploration. All sorts of tragedies had trimmed the player count overnight. He shook his head to dismiss the fleeting urge to help others and scanned his surrounding waters. According to memories from his past life, this newly spawned chest was a standard Tier 1 container. He did not expect extraordinary rewards from it, yet any resource was better than nothing. Scanning the water surface, he spotted the chest floating less than 100 meters away from his iron boat. He rowed over with great effort and confirmed it was indeed a Tier 1 treasure chest. Hopefully the next tier unlocks upgraded propulsion systems. Breathless from rowing, he opened the chest to inspect its contents. Ding. You have obtained telescope times 1, standard ammunition times 20. Pretty lucky pull today. Lu Yuan was pleasantly surprised to receive both a usable tool and combat consumables. He brought up the telescope's stat panel for review. Item name, telescope. Item type, utility tool. Quality, grade D. Description, a standard observational telescope, an essential piece of equipment for open ocean navigation. Good luck on your voyage. Lu Yuan nodded in approval. Getting such a practical item from a Tier 1 chest was far better than average luck. After a quick meal, he returned to his fishing rod, waiting for more catches while counting down the minutes until the new port appeared. Several hours later, the system sent a pre-arrival alert. Ding. You are approaching a dual-occupant Tier 2 port. Captain, please prepare your vessel for docking. A dual-player port? That's unexpected. Lu Yuan looked genuinely shocked. Dual-person ports were fairly rare to encounter within the newbie protection window. He double-checked his handgun and stuffed all spare ammunition into the multiple pockets of his jacket, which he had purchased specifically before the game launched. Trusting no one was the safest rule, even on the second day. If the other port inhabitant turned out to be hostile, Lu Yuan would strike first without hesitation. Minutes after the system notification, the silhouette of the port came into view. Lu Yuan maneuvered his iron boat into the dock with great difficulty, resolved to upgrade his ship to Tier 2 during this port stop. The port was built around a residential complex, an area guaranteed to hold abundant scattered supplies, solidifying his resolve to gather enough upgrade materials. Speaking of the dual-player setup, where is the second person? Lu Yuan swept his eyes across the surrounding landscape, confused by the empty surroundings. Hey there, could you lend me a hand? A crisp female voice drifted over just as he was scanning the area. Lu Yuan turned toward the sound out of curiosity and froze when he recognized the girl speaking to him, an acquaintance from his university. Wang Bingbing, president of the school's performing arts club and a senior one grade above him. Lu Yuan's eyes widened in surprise. Wang Bingbing was widely known as one of the most beautiful students on campus. Trained in dance and stage performance from childhood as the club leader, she had even won national-level performance awards the previous year. Lu Yuan had watched her live performance at the Freshman Welcome Gala last autumn. Her graceful posture and stage presence had left a deep impression on everyone in attendance. Her soft, delicate facial features made her stand out wherever she went on campus, with a long line of admirers vying for her attention. Yet this once celebrated campus figure was currently in a rather messy predicament. Lu Yuan could see her loose stage costume had become soaked and clung tightly to her frame after spending a full day adrift at sea, with faint stage makeup still lingering on her face. Hello? Wang Bingbing repeated her call when Lu Yuan stood staring blankly at her, snapping him back to his senses. Sorry, Wang Bingbing, right? What trouble have you run into? Though momentarily distracted by her appearance, Lu Yuan never lost sight of their dangerous surroundings as he asked about her situation. Wang Bingbing grew irritated at his detached tone. She had assumed he would show some compassion upon seeing her vulnerable state, yet his reaction was completely indifferent. I fell overboard earlier. Would you happen to have dry clothes I could change into? Some food would also be greatly appreciated. She bit back her frustration, knowing throwing a fit was suicidal in this harsh environment. If Lu Yuan had malicious intentions toward her, she stood no chance of defending herself against him physically. You fell overboard? Lu Yuan paid no mind to her irritable tone and instead wondered how the accident had happened. Following her line of sight backward, he saw her entire watercraft was nothing more than a simple wooden plank she had spawned with at the start of the game. He felt a twinge of pity for her unfortunate starting gear, yet sympathy did not mean free handouts. Trades were the only fair rule in this world. I don't have spare clothing, but I have food available. We can work out a trade. Lu Yuan sent over a trade request after glancing at her again. You're familiar to me. We go to the same school. Do you really have to be this stingy? Wang Bingbing grew furious at his demand for compensation. Suit yourself if you don't want to trade. Lu Yuan rolled his eyes and tossed a copy of the contract toward her feet. Or you can sign this document instead. Without waiting for her response, Lu Yuan turned and walked into the residential complex to scavenge resources. What on earth is this? Wang Bingbing picked up the contract in confusion after he left. Her reaction mirrored by Shui's the second she read its harsh clauses. You terrible man. I would rather endure hardship or face danger than sign this ridiculous contract of yours. Lu Yuan was already far enough away to miss her angry shouts. Gathering critical supplies remained his top priority. Residential complexes typically contained massive stockpiles of scattered resources, yet the cluttered buildings also concealed numerous hidden threats. After verifying his handgun was fully functional once more, Lu Yuan moved cautiously deeper into the complex. He spotted an intact community supermarket with all its goods preserved untouched, and excitement surged through his chest. Jackpot! Today's going to be a productive haul. He located an unused shopping cart in the corner of the market, filled it to the brim with supplies, and hurried back toward his anchored iron boat. Port docking time was limited to 1 hour, so he needed to collect as many materials as possible within the window. Bottled water, soda, tea drinks, self-heating meals, and clean garments all went into his cart. He had not originally planned to pick up spare clothes, but his encounter with Wang Bingbing earlier prompted him to grab a few sets on impulse. Lu Yuan was rushing to ferry his cargo back to his boat when a sharp scream echoed in the distance. That's Wang Bingbing's voice. He identified the source instantly. Terrible luck on her part. Lu Yuan initially felt no urge to rush to her aid. Her survival or demise bore no impact on his own safety and plans. A sudden thought halted him before he could wheel the cart away. If Wang Bingbing was being attacked by an in-game NPC, his unique talent would let him absorb attribute points upon eliminating the creature. He had gained 0.5 free attribute points previously after killing a mutated chicken. Attribute points are too valuable to pass up. Filled with new motivation, Lu Yuan parked the shopping cart, pinpointed the general direction of the scream, and quietly advanced toward Wang Bingbing's location. He felt confident taking this risk because all NPC monsters spawned during the newbie protection period had manageable combat strength, and his handgun gave him a decisive combat advantage. Wang Bingbing had run into a Tier 2 zombie while exploring the shore. She could not have drawn worse luck from the very start of the game. She had spawned on a flimsy wooden plank, fallen overboard, and only received a small stack of lumber in her newbie gift pack. Just as she had felt relieved scavenging minor supplies on land, the aggressive zombie had appeared out of nowhere. She had barricaded herself inside an empty residential room while the zombie slammed its weight repeatedly against the fragile door. Dust showered down from the doorframe with each impact, and Wang Bingbing knew the barrier would collapse soon, drowning her in utter despair. Just as she was about to surrender to her fate, 2 loud gunshots rang out from outside the building. The violent pounding against the door ceased immediately afterward. Lu Yuan stood outside the room, and a system notification popped into his mind the moment he arrived. Ding. Tier 2 strength type zombie detected. Monster traits: extremely durable skin and overwhelming brute physical strength. Lu Yuan's excitement spiked at the confirmation of a Tier 2 foe. Encounters with zombies were extremely rare within the newbie protection phase. He raised his pistol, took careful aim at the zombie's head, and pulled the trigger twice. The creature collapsed motionlessly to the ground. Firepower solves every problem. Lu Yuan grinned at the system kill alert and walked over to the fallen zombie's body. Kneeling down, he placed both palms on the corpse's surface. Activate Universal Spirit Absorption. The intact zombie body dissolved into a pool of black liquid under the effect of his talent. The liquid vaporized shortly after, flowing directly into Lu Yuan's body. Ding. Universal Spirit Absorption activated. You have gained 0.5 free attribute points. Ding. You are the first player in this region to eliminate a Tier 2 zombie. Exclusive first kill rewards will be issued alongside your standard kill loot. Ding. Reward received. Lumber times 200, metal times 200, plastic times 200, 1 times Tier 2 treasure chest. Pleased with his gains, Lu Yuan chose not to open the treasure chest right away. He quickly loaded all newly acquired resources into his shopping cart and hurried back to his iron boat docked at the port. With time pressing and tasks piling up, he had half an hour left to gather supplies as much as he could. Lu Yuan paid no heed to Wang Bingbing, who stayed inside the room. In his opinion, abandoning misplaced compassion and letting others forge their own paths was the core rule to survive in the end times. After waiting a long while with no more noise coming from outside the door, Wang Bingbing worked up the courage to crack the door open slightly. Was that guy from earlier? Wang Bingbing quickly figured out that Lu Yuan must have eliminated the zombie. Putting on such a cold front. Irritated that he had not spoken a word to her after dealing with the monster, she pouted and began scavenging for supplies on her own. After loading the loot dropped by the zombie onto his iron boat, Lu Yuan headed back into the supermarket once more. Once all urgently needed provisions were stowed in the trolley, he scanned the whole store and spotted a pack of emergency medical supplies and stretch fabric stockings on the shelf beside the checkout counter. He glanced around nervously to make sure nobody was watching, then quickly stuffed the items into the bottom of his handcart before hurrying back to his iron boat. Cough. These supplies will definitely be useful if more survivors end up staying on the boat later on, he muttered to himself as he rushed forward to rationalize his actions. Having finished transporting the last batch of goods, he noticed there were still 10 minutes remaining. Instead of going out to scavenge further, he laid back on the boat to rest. 2 minutes later, heavy panting drifted over to his ears. Alert! Lu Yuan drew his handgun and stood up to peer toward the source of the sound. He saw Wang Bingbing pushing a cart toward her flimsy wooden raft, gasping for breath with every step. Not an easy haul, huh? Lu Yuan teased upon seeing her sweat-soaked figure drenched with seawater. You. Wang Bingbing snapped her head around at the sound of his voice. Seeing how relaxed and unhurried Lu Yuan looked, even the normally poised young woman could not hold back her angry retort. Ms. Wang Bingbing, no offense, but your tiny wooden raft can't possibly carry all those supplies. Lu Yuan reminded her with feigned concern. Mind your own business. Wang Bingbing shouted at him in embarrassment and fury. Very well then, best of luck to you. A faint amused smirk tugged at Lu Yuan's lips as he watched her flush bright red with anger. Remember, our contract is still fully valid. He pushed his boat away without another glance at Wang Bingbing fuming on the shore. Unintentionally or not, The girl had brought the signed contract aboard her raft along with her belongings. Lu Yuan sailed away without sparing Wang Bingbing another thought. He took one last look at the port fading into the distance before heading into the cabin to tally up his day's gains. After storing all materials into his storage space, his gaze landed on the Tier 2 treasure chest sitting behind him. Fingers crossed this gives me the blueprint I need for an upgrade, Lu Yuan thought to himself as he opened the chest. Ding! You have obtained Tier 2 Vessel Upgrade Blueprint ×1, Lumber ×100, Metal ×100, Plastic ×100, Constant Temperature Water Circulation System Blueprint ×1, Comfort Sleep Pillows ×2. Perfect. No wonder this was the reward for the first monster kill. Lu Yuan jumped for joy the moment he laid eyes on the much-needed blueprint. Ignoring the other rewards for the moment, he immediately pulled up the blueprint to check its requirements. Upgrade requirements: Lumber ×400, Metal ×300, Plastic ×250. Detected sufficient materials available. Proceed with immediate upgrade? Upgrade now. Lu Yuan answered without the slightest hesitation. Just like his previous vessel upgrade, raw materials were instantly absorbed into the blueprint. A burst of golden light washed over the entire hull, expanding the original dozens of square-meter iron boat to twice its initial size, with a second deck rising out of the vessel as if pulled upward from dry land. Ding! Tier 2 vessel upgrade complete. Shortly afterward, the system notification echoed in his head. He promptly opened his nautical log to review the stats of his newly upgraded 2-story iron boat. Name: 2-story iron vessel tonnage, 1 tier. LV2 durability, 100 armament, none physical defense, 60 capable of withstanding assaults from low-tier, mutated creatures' magical resistance. 0 no defensive measures against supernatural forces for the time being. Storage capacity, 50 units. Description: a solid 2-story iron vessel. Nice upgrade. Hope you get a decent rest on board. Looks pretty solid overall. Don't I get to roll for a vessel perk now? He nodded in satisfaction at the upgrades and mumbled in confusion. Right after his words faded, the system voice chimed in once again. Ding! Captain has reached Tier 2. Initiating Tier 2 perk draw. A golden roulette wheel materialized before his eyes as Lu Yuan watched intently. The wheel spun violently before grinding to a halt, the pointer landing squarely on the Boundless Storage perk. Ding! Acquired perk, Boundless Storage. Boundless Storage grants the captain a literal infinite storage dimension. All items placed within are preserved in their original condition indefinitely. The glowing golden text condensed into a metallic ring that dropped onto the deck at his feet once the explanation finished playing out. Whoa, this feels straight out of a Xinxia novel. He picked up the ring, excitement clear across his face. In this brutal ocean survival game, storage space was second only to raw resources in terms of importance. Before obtaining this ring, he had to make countless back and forth trips to haul goods every time he docked at a port. This new ability would streamline everything drastically. Even better, the dimension kept all items fresh and could safely contain living creatures. Focusing his consciousness on the ring he wore on his finger, Lu Yuan projected his mind into the space inside it. He gasped in shock at the boundless empty expanse stretching endlessly in every direction, stunned even with his memories from his past life. With a single thought, his consciousness returned to the cabin of his ship. Time to check out the additional facilities unlocked with the Tier 2 upgrade. Pushing his excitement about the infinite storage aside, he browsed the newly available build options on his nautical log. Heavy-duty trawl net. Lumber ×200, metal ×300, plastic ×300. Description: mounted to the stern to passively collect floating debris and resources across the ocean as you sail. Private shower room. Lumber ×100, metal ×200, plastic ×200. Description: nothing beats a warm shower after a long day of scavenging and sailing. 3. Combustion engine. Lumber ×50, metal ×300, plastic ×200. Description: install this engine to bid farewell to the exhausting work of rowing manually. I want all 3 of these upgrades. Lu Yuan's eyes widened at the 3 tempting build options. He had been craving an engine since day 1. Rowing the boat by hand drained far too much stamina. The trawl net would automatically gather resources along his sailing route with 0 extra effort. As for the shower room, while it seemed like a luxury for most survivors, it was an incredibly practical addition for him thanks to his unlimited clean water supply. I'll prioritize building the engine first, Lu Yuan decided quickly. A motorized vessel would grant far superior maneuverability and safety out on open water. Ding! Beginning installation of the V8 engine for your vessel. Clattering mechanical sounds filled the air for several minutes until the system confirmed the installation had finished. Wait a second, where's the fuel to run this thing? Lu Yuan frowned at the empty fuel tank and grumbled. Eager to fire up his new engine, he opened the global chat channel and posted a trade request seeking fuel supplies. He then noticed a new notification on his personal profile page within the nautical log, one unassigned free attribute point. He recalled the system prompts he had received after killing the zombie and mutated chicken earlier that day. I'll allocate this point to physical constitution without question. Physical stamina and body resilience were always the most vital stat in this ocean survival world. Ding. Attribute allocation successful. Current physical constitution stat, 51. Better than nothing at least. Lu Yuan chuckled faintly at the minor stat boost before scrolling through the public chat feed to pass the time. Now equipped with an engine lacking only fuel and ample stored materials, he was confident he could gather every remaining required resource before the day ended. Messages flooded the chat window nonstop. Anyone spare some food? I'm starving over here. Quit playing the victim. If you haven't gone out scavenging after 2 whole days, starvation's just your own fault. That's a harsh thing to say. We're all classmates. Shouldn't we help each other out? Then why don't you give him supplies yourself? Nope, not sharing anything I've collected. Lu Yuan let out a helpless laugh reading these exchanges. Anyone still clinging to naive goodwill after everything they had witnessed would not last long once the new player protection period expired. Death awaited those unprepared. A mischievous thought crossed his mind as he watched the survivors panic and bicker in the chat. He opened a self-heating hot pot meal he had looted earlier and prepared it for himself. Minutes later, he uploaded a photo of his steaming meal into the public chat, instantly igniting an uproar among all other players. The entire chat channel erupted the second the picture went live. Is that really Lu Yuan? He's eating a self-heating hot pot right now. There's no way this guy isn't cheating. We're all huddled on leaky rafts struggling to find bread while he's living comfortably. Fake photo, it has to be edited. Look closely, there's no photo editing function built into this system. So this is 100 real. Lu Yuan inwardly smirked seeing the chaos his simple picture had caused. Personal success was satisfying on its own, but watching others struggle desperately while he thrived brought him an extra sense of gratification. Trading all types of materials. Send your offers via private message. He took a bite of hot rice and posted another trade notice in the public channel. You're really rubbing your good fortune in everyone's faces. You have so many supplies, yet you refuse to donate to people in need and instead make us barter for basic necessities. Don't trade with him at all. Let him hoard all his food alone. Lu Yuan scoffed at the group's bitter complaints and closed the public chat to check his private messages. Loud complaints in open chat meant nothing. Pragmatic survivors were already reaching out to strike deals in private. I'll admit I spoke harshly a moment ago. Can I still trade for supplies with you? Surprisingly, the first message came from the same player who had just urged everyone to boycott his trades minutes prior. Clever bluff tactic. Lu Yuan let out a cold huff and typed his reply. Trades are still open. What are you looking to obtain? I have 100 units of metal. What can I get in exchange? The reply came almost instantly. 1 marinated egg. Lu Yuan answered without hesitation. That feels a little unfair for 100 metal units. The man replied with obvious dissatisfaction, but Lu Yuan simply closed the chat window in response. The market was firmly in the hands of suppliers right now. He was not running a charity. If the price did not suit the buyer, they were free to seek trades elsewhere. He moved on to answer other private trade requests and spotted a message from Zhang Long, the survivor he had traded lumber with previously. Brother Lu Yuan, could you spare some food and drinking water? I'll pay you with lumber. Zhang Long's tone was extremely deferential. This guy must have stumbled onto a solid lumber source to be this willing to trade generously. Lu Yuan deduced from the message. It was wise to maintain friendly relations with a steady resource supplier like him. 1 instant noodle set with a marinated egg and sausage for 500 lumber units. He set a reasonably fair price for their ongoing partnership. You're my lifesaver, Lu Yuan. Fearing Lu Yuan might rescind the offer, Zhang Long immediately sent the trade request. Lu Yuan grinned and approved the transaction. Glancing at the lumber added to his storage space, he grew fully confident that he would gather every missing material he needed before sundown. Meanwhile, Wang Bingbing, who had crossed paths with Lu Yuan earlier that day, saw his posts in the chat channel. Her luck had been abysmal since the start of the disaster. Though she had scavenged a small amount of supplies inside a residential complex, those items were barely enough to keep her from going hungry. Worst of all, she had not found a single blueprint to upgrade her basic raft, leaving her stranded on a rickety wooden board ready to fall apart at any moment. This survival game is impossibly hard. She whimpered dejectedly, slumping down onto her fragile raft after seeing Lu Yuan's photo of a warm meal. Just as her spirits hit rock bottom, a deep, resonant wail-like roar echoed across the ocean water. A colossal mountain-sized creature emerged in the distance, two glowing red dots blazing from its torso. The beast noticed her the second she stood to observe it more clearly and began accelerating straight toward her raft. Ding! Direct gaze upon an abyssal leviathan detected. Sanity reduced by 5 points. Panic washed over Wang Bingbing completely. Frantic and terrified, she grabbed the contract Lu Yuan had left with her earlier. I'll sign it. I'll sign it right now. She bit her fingertip open and scrawled her signature onto the parchment through tearful sobs. Back on his iron boat, Lu Yuan was in the middle of negotiating trades when a system prompt sounded in his mind. Ding! Wang Bingbing has signed the binding contract. Initiate teleportation now? What? Lu Yuan's eyes widened in shock before excitement bloomed across his features. Confirm teleportation. At the exact moment Lu Yuan accepted the prompt, the abyssal monster loomed directly over Wang Bingbing's raft, jaws wide open to swallow her whole. Ding! Proximity to abyssal leviathan detected. Sanity reduced by an additional 10 points. Help! Lu Yuan, save me! Wang Bingbing screamed as the massive maw descended toward her, oblivious to the warm energy wrapping around her body. A murky yellow vortex materialized directly beneath her raft the instant the monster's jaws snapped shut where she had been floating. A beam of light shot upward from the vortex and enveloped her entire figure. 1 second later, the monster swallowed empty seawater. Wang Bingbing and her raft had vanished entirely from the spot. Lu Yuan closed his nautical log and stood on the deck of his 2-story vessel, curious about where the contracted girl would reappear. The system notification rang out again moments later. Ding! Captain, hold out your hands. Confused, Lu Yuan instinctively stretched both arms forward. A figure dropped down from midair and landed firmly into his embrace. He looked down to see Wang Bingbing pressed against his chest. I didn't expect the contract ability to work this seamlessly, he muttered in surprise, quickly examining the status panel that automatically appeared in his mind now that the contract was active. Player profile name, Wang Bingbing ID number, 666 physical constitution, 30 agility, 40 perception, 15 sanity, 10/30 strength, 30 innate talent, mechanical repair fabrication current status, critically distressed system evaluation, on the brink of mental collapse, attend to her condition quickly. Lu Yuan noted her perilous mental state after skimming her stats and hurried toward the upper lounge area with the girl in his arms. Wang Bingbing had a light frame from years of professional dance training, weighing roughly 50 kilograms. Constant physical practice had toned her muscles into firm, defined lines beneath her skin. The once popular, admired student now curled limply in his arms like a frightened bird. Lu Yuan swallowed hard and pushed distracting thoughts aside, rushing toward the second-floor rest lounge. Her plummeting sanity was clearly caused by the extreme fright from encountering the sea monster. Fortunately, her sanity value had not dropped below the fatal threshold, or she would have suffered irreversible mental damage. Without any sanity-restoring medicine available, rest was the only viable method to help her recover. When Lu Yuan entered the lounge, he noticed her clothes were soaked through with seawater. After a moment of hesitation, he decided to help her change into dry garments. We have a binding contract now. She shouldn't take offense to this, he reasoned to justify his choice. He had only scavenged men's clothing during his raid on the residential complex earlier, so she would have to make do with his spare garments for the time being. After struggling for a while to get her changed into dry clothes, he retrieved a self-heating rice meal from his infinite storage. He fed the exhausted girl small bites to replenish her energy. Don't think you'll get to laze around and live comfortably just because you're aboard my boat after this scare, he murmured quietly beside her. Lu Yuan watched Wang Bingbing finish her food and drink slowly in a drowsy state before gently helping her lie down on the bed. All right, time to focus on the main business. Lu Yuan let out a long breath and silently spoke in his mind. Inspect talent. Ding. You have formed a contract with Wang Bingbing. Her innate talent, mechanical repair manufacturing. Commencing talent mutation. Congratulations, Captain. You have obtained the talent. Forge ammunition by hand. Talent. Forge ammunition by hand. Description. As long as sufficient metal materials are available, you can manually craft any ammunition or ordnance you have seen within the game, ranging from ordinary bullets to missiles. This process consumes metal resources only. Rank A. Evaluation. Don't hold back. Fire away freely. Whoa, This ability is insanely powerful. Lu Yuan's jaw nearly dropped the moment he read the effects of Golden Cudgel Bond. He had no idea what textbooks Wang Bingbing had studied before the game launched to awaken such a rugged, practical mechanical talent. Yet the mutated skill he received was truly phenomenal. With this talent, he essentially had an endless supply of ammunition at his disposal. Nice work. I owe you a thank you, Peck. Overjoyed by this massive gain, Lu Yuan leaned over and gave the sleeping Wang Bingbing a light, grateful kiss on the forehead. A sudden restlessness stirred within him, prompting Lu Yuan's cheeks to flush. He tore his gaze away from the woman resting on the bed and headed straight for the main deck on the first floor. After calming his turbulent emotions, he resumed his unfinished tasks for the day. His previous negotiations in the trade channel had been cut short by Wang Bingbing's sudden arrival. Following lengthy discussions with other players, Lu Yuan finally gathered enough raw materials to upgrade his vessel to Tier 2. He opened his nautical log and checked the remaining Tier 2 ship modules he needed to construct, a super trawl net and a bathroom facility. Glancing at the stockpile stored in his infinite storage space, he confirmed the materials were adequate and initiated construction. Clattering mechanical noises echoed as plumes of smoke billowed from the second-floor lounge and the stern of the ship. It was accompanied by a system notification. Ding! Super trawl net and private bathroom have been successfully constructed. Standing on the first deck, Lu Yuan spotted the oversized trawl net materializing on the floor. This is an extremely valuable piece of equipment. In this nautical survival game, all sorts of supplies and marine creatures frequently drifted across the open sea. A high-grade trawl net was essential for resource collection. If any hostile sea creatures got tangled in the net, his 92 pistol would quickly deal with the threat. After mounting the super trawl net firmly to the ship's stern, Lu Yuan checked his fishing rod at the bow and found no catches. He then walked up to the second deck. A partitioned enclosed space had been built in the corner of the captain's lounge. Stepping inside, Lu Yuan found the bathroom far more luxurious than he anticipated. It featured a full shower system paired with a large freestanding bathtub, spacious enough to comfortably fit 3 adults. Unfortunately, there was no running water inside the bathroom for the time being. There was no established pipeline to channel fresh water produced by the seawater purifier into this new facility. A thought suddenly crossed his mind. When he opened the Tier 2 treasure chest earlier, he had acquired a construction blueprint he had not yet reviewed. He projected his consciousness into his spatial ring and quickly retrieved the item. Item name: Constant Temperature Water Circulation System Blueprint. Type: Construction Schematic. Quality: Grade B. Overview: a ship-mounted circulating water system that maintains a stable water temperature. It can be extended to any area aboard the vessel with adequate construction materials. Perfect timing. Lu Yuan exclaimed in delight. This blueprint solved his water supply problem just when he needed it most. With this system installed, the brand new bathroom would become fully functional. He checked the required construction materials and confirmed his reserves could cover the cost without strain. Then immediately began building the constant temperature water system. Minutes later, the circulation system finished installation inside the bathroom. Lu Yuan turned on the shower faucet, and warm water gushed out steadily. This is incredible. The soothing hot water brought immense relief to Lu Yuan. In his previous life, clean drinking water had been a scarce luxury, let alone the chance to take a proper hot shower. Yet only a few days into the game, he already had a private bathing space of his own. Once he finished washing up, Lu Yuan remembered another item he had looted from the Tier 2 chest, the sleep-inducing pillow. He pulled up its system details immediately. Item name: Sleep-inducing pillow. Type: Daily consumable. Quality: Grade C. Overview: restores mental stamina during sleep. All users attest to its remarkable calming effects. Was this item generated specifically to help Wang Bingbing recover? Looking at the pillow's description, then toward the peacefully sleeping woman on the bed, Lu Yuan smiled and gently lifted her head to slide the supportive pillow beneath it. Wang Bingbing let out a soft, contented hum as her head settled onto the soft pillow. Her warm breath brushed against his wrist as he adjusted her posture, stirring a faint fluster in Lu Yuan. He hastily tidied the bedding and hurried back downstairs. Lu Yuan stretched out on the first-floor deck with a heavy sigh. We're about to enter the third day of the game. He double-checked his pistol and all essential gear to ensure everything was in working order before drifting off to sleep. Wang Bingbing experienced an extremely lengthy, vivid dream. She dreamed of falling overboard, nearly getting devoured by a colossal deep-sea monster, before a brilliant flash of light pulled her into a warm, safe space. Am I dead? Her last clear memory was the massive beast opening its jaws to swallow her whole. The gentle warmth surrounding her led her to believe she had perished at sea. She briefly wondered if eternal rest in this tranquil warmth would be a peaceful end. Wake up, the sun is high already. A familiar voice pulled her back to consciousness. Bingbing slowly opened her eyes to see Lu Yuan standing beside her bed with an impatient expression. Get dressed and meet me down on the deck. Without waiting for a response, Lu Yuan turned and walked downstairs. Once he left the room, Wang Bingbing recalled signing the binding contract Lu Yuan had offered right before she was attacked by the sea monster. She began observing her surroundings carefully. She lay on a spacious bed inside a wooden cabin, covered with thick, warm bedding, a stark contrast to the harsh ocean environment outside, making her feel thoroughly at ease. Recalling Lu Yuan's instruction, she swung her legs over the bed and headed for the lower deck. She flushed slightly when she realized she was wearing an oversized set of men's clothes. Realizing Lu Yuan must have changed her soaked garments while she was unconscious, she quickly composed herself. Since only she and Lu Yuan occupied the ship, and a formal contract bound them together, there was no need for excessive embarrassment. Down on the deck, Lu Yuan had been waiting for quite some time, growing slightly restless. What's taking her so long? Just as he was about to head upstairs to fetch her, Wang Bingbing appeared before him. Lu Yuan's gaze first fell upon her fair, delicate feet, then traveled upward to her slender, toned legs. He swallowed softly and deliberately shifted his line of sight to her face to avoid awkward stares. Thank you so much for saving me, Lu Yuan. Wang Bingbing noticed the focused look in his eyes and grew nervous, greeting him politely to gauge his current attitude toward her. I expended plenty of energy and precious food rations to rescue you yesterday. A simple thank you isn't enough repayment. Lu Yuan found her flustered demeanor rather endearing. The usually aloof woman had a vulnerable, bashful side. What can I do to make it up to you? Her cheeks reddened further. After a moment of nervous hesitation, she mustered her courage and spoke quietly. I have formal dance training, including advanced moves such as the full split. If you require any performances, I would be willing to do so. She twisted the hem of her oversized shirt anxiously, accentuating the soft curves of her figure. Her face burning bright red. Lu Yuan stared in surprise. He quickly clarified the misunderstanding. I don't need any performances from you. I simply expect you to pull your weight and work diligently as a crew member. Realization dawned on Wang Bingbing, her mouth falling open in embarrassment. I'm terribly sorry, Lu Yuan. I misinterpreted your words. Don't address me by my given name. Lu Yuan rolled his eyes faintly. Call me Captain from now on. Understood, Captain. She nodded promptly in agreement. Your mental state looks fully restored. How are you feeling overall? Thanks to their signed contract, Lu Yuan could view her complete status panel at any time. I'm feeling perfectly recovered, Captain. Wang Bingbing stood straight and answered respectfully. Show me whatever supplies you have left on hand. I only have a few spare mechanical components and the food I scavenged from my residential complex before the disaster. All my belongings are stored inside my original wooden raft storage space. She replied with obvious awkwardness. Your raft is moored right next to my iron vessel. Lu Yuan gestured for her to look over the ship's railing. Lu Yuan had discovered the small wooden raft anchored beside his ship early that morning, likely drawn here automatically once the contract was finalized. Since Wang Bingbing was still registered as the raft's captain, Lu Yuan could not board the tiny vessel himself, though he suspected it held nothing of real value. Dismantle your wooden raft. I will send you a crew invitation so you can officially join my ship's roster. Within the rules of this nautical game system, their soul-bound contractual bond required official crew registration for her to work and reside aboard his ship without restrictions. Wang Bingbing nodded obediently, opened her nautical log, and selected the dismantle vessel option. Ding. You have selected to dismantle your ship. Please confirm your choice. This action is irreversible upon approval. Ding. Captain Lu Yuan has sent you an official crew invitation. Do you accept? After confirming both prompts, Wang Bingbing let out a deep breath, relieved to have escaped the deadly open sea on her own fragile raft. Ding. Player Wang Bingbing has officially become your crew member. Full access to her stored supplies is now granted to you with complete management authority. The system notification popped up on Lu Yuan's nautical log the second Wang Bingbing accepted the invitation. Ding. Golden Cudgel Bond ability activated. Contractee, Wang Bingbing. Contract type, Spiritual Reliance. Resource Return Multiplier, ×2. Lu Yuan smacked his forehead. He had nearly forgotten this core passive effect of his Golden Cudgel Bond skill. We'll test this double return bonus when today's server-wide survival rewards are distributed soon. He planned to verify exactly how the doubled loot functioned with Wang Bingbing's help. With that thought, he began sorting through the supplies Wang Bingbing had stored in her raft. You own a compound bow. Lu Yuan raised an eyebrow upon spotting the ranged weapon in her inventory. Yes, though I only have a single arrow remaining. I kept it as a last resort defensive tool in emergencies. She answered sheepishly. Are you skilled at archery? Lu Yuan asked in a serious tone. She puffed out her chest with quiet pride. My hit rate sits above 90% in most shooting scenarios. That's excellent news. Lu Yuan smiled and pulled several chunks of raw metal plus her last remaining arrow out of his storage space. I'll activate my talent now. Wang Bingbing watched in stunned silence as Lu Yuan rapidly forged several custom arrows with his bare hands. Captain, how did you do that? As someone familiar with archery equipment, she instantly recognized these handcrafted arrows were lethal, precision-engineered weapons. Nothing special, just a minor crafting ability I unlocked. Lu Yuan chose not to reveal the full details of his overpowered talent yet. Switching the subject quickly. I've been curious, why did someone like you awaken a mechanical repair and manufacturing talent? I've always been passionate about mechanical maintenance. I finished reading a professional repair handbook right before the game launched, which must have influenced my talent awakening. She explained with a hint of embarrassment. I never expected the famously reserved public figure to have such a unique hobby. Lu Yuan laughed warmly, and the sense of awkwardness between the two faded noticeably. Before Lu Yuan could continue their conversation, a system alert echoed from his nautical log. Current time, Day 3. Current sea region, C857857. Weather forecast, cloudy clearing to sunny. Ambient temperature 18 degrees Celsius, northerly winds prevailing. Remaining active players, 99,500/initial 100,000. Public port spawn countdown, 5 hours. Total nautical challenge duration remaining, 8 days. Rewards for surviving the second day have been deployed near all vessels. Please collect your loot personally. Important reminder, today marks the final day of the new player protection period. All captains are advised to make thorough preparations for future high-risk ocean encounters. Wang Bingbing's eyes grew misty after reading the notice. Her heart ached for the 400 players who had perished overnight. She would have shared their fate if Lu Yuan had not intervened to save her life. Stay composed. We still have plenty of time. Let's collect our daily rewards first. Lu Yuan cut her off gently. Sentimentality was a liability in this merciless ocean survival world. The pair quickly located 2 reward chests floating beside the iron ship, one grade 1 and one grade 2, generated because 2 people were registered aboard the vessel. You open the chests. Lu Yuan's excitement was palpable. He was eager to test the double resource return mechanic of his golden cudgel bond at last. Me? Wang Bingbing stared at him in confusion. Just go ahead. Lu Yuan gestured impatiently without elaborating on his reason for the request. Though confused by his odd demand, she complied obediently. Ding. Contractee, open treasure chest. Obtained, lumber times 50, metal times 50, plastic times 50. Applying times 2 resource return bonus. Lumber times 100, metal times 100, plastic times 100. Resources transferred to infinite storage space. Lu Yuan jumped for joy the moment he checked his storage to confirm the doubled materials had arrived. Wang Bingbing panicked, misinterpreting his reaction as anger over her poor loot luck. I'm so sorry, Captain, my luck is quite terrible today. There's no need to apologize. You did perfectly well. Lu Yuan hurried over to soothe her, gesturing toward the second chest. Open the next one. Am I supposed to open this one too? She looked utterly baffled. Please, it will be fine. Lu Yuan nodded for her to proceed. As you wish, Captain. Seeing his genuine positive mood, she walked over to unlock the second treasure chest without further hesitation. Ding. Contractee, open treasure chest. Obtained, amoxicillin times 10, ibuprofen times 10, cold granules times 10. Applying times 2 resource return bonus. Amoxicillin times 20, ibuprofen times 20, cold granules times 20. Resources transferred to infinite storage space. Captain, we got medical supplies. Wang Bingbing brightened instantly at the sight of the medicine inside the chest. Pharmaceuticals were among the most valuable trade commodities across the entire ocean world. See? Good fortune came through eventually. Lu Yuan grinned at her delighted expression and joked lightly. Secure all these supplies immediately. The public port will spawn very soon. Since Wang Bingbing held official crew status, she had authorized access to the ship's shared storage lockers to stow away all the newly acquired goods. Captain, that must be the port up ahead, right? After stowing all the supplies, Wang Bingbing stared at a dark silhouette in the distance and asked, "Yeah, that's exactly it." Lu Yuan picked up his binoculars and scanned the horizon for a moment to confirm her words. Right then, the system notification chimed in his ears. "Ding. You are approaching a solo grade 3 port. Captain, please get fully prepared." Whoa, we hit another grade 3 port on the final day. Elation washed over Lu Yuan at the news, and he immediately ordered Wang Bingbing to row toward their destination with all their strength. Lu Yuan had barely stockpiled any fuel beforehand, and what little he'd had was completely drained after the ship's upgrade. With no other options available, the pair had to rely on manual rowing to reach the port. Fingers crossed we can stock up on plenty of fuel here. Even with both of them pulling the oars, their vessel was only a grade 2 ship. It took immense physical effort just to draw near the port perimeter. The moment Lu Yuan got a clear view of the structure ahead, his eyes blew wide open with shock. The system voice sounded once more at the perfect time. "Ding. You have arrived at your destination. Offshore oil drilling platform port. Docking duration limit, 1 hour. Awesome, let's move out." Standing before this colossal drilling platform, Lu Yuan was overwhelmed with awe. They rode around the massive structure once before spotting an elevator leading onto the platform deck. "Stay alert, grab your bow and arrows, and follow me closely." Lu Yuan double-checked his handgun, issued a caution to Wang Bingbing, then stepped onto the platform alongside her. Though the novice protection period was still active, the safeguard was rendered useless now that they had left their ship anchored offshore. He still remembered the incident back at Cloud Village, where a mutated chicken had nearly cost him his life. "Keep your guard up. This place won't be easy to navigate." He glanced back to warn Wang Bingbing, received her acknowledgement, then pried open the elevator doors. The two walked onto the platform one after another. Lu Yuan had only seen drilling platforms online before. Standing atop the real structure made him truly grasp its staggering scale. "Let's head for that marked building first." Even on his first visit to such a facility, a building marked with distinctive paint immediately caught his eye. "Understood." Wang Bingbing moved to cover Lu Yuan's flank, and the two ascended the staircase toward the target room in formation. A shrill, grating squeal echoed as Lu Yuan slowly pushed the door open. He swept the room thoroughly to confirm there were no immediate threats, then gestured for Wang Bingbing to step inside with him. "This looks like the main control room," Lu Yuan deduced after circling the space. "Where's the fuel storage located then?" Wang Bingbing nodded at his assessment, and the two leaned in together to study the wall-mounted map. "Here it is." Lu Yuan pointed at a labeled section seconds later. "Man, it's pretty far from our current spot." Wang Bingbing frowned after comparing their position to the fuel depot on the blueprint. "We have no choice but to go there anyway." Lu Yuan snapped a photo of the map with his maritime logbook, then unlocked a secondary door and signaled Wang Bingbing to stick close. Minutes after the pair left the control room, the door creaked open once again. A tattered figure clad in a rotting work uniform, its body covered in festering lesions, sniffed the lingering scent left by Lu Yuan and Wang Bingbing before shambling after their trail. Unaware they were being tailed by the undead creature, Lu Yuan and his partner hurried toward the petroleum storage area, using the photo of the map as their guide. The platform had been abandoned for ages, coated in stagnant rot and shrouded in dim, gloomy light as they traversed a long corridor. Eventually, a fuel hazard sign came into view. "This is the place." Overjoyed at reaching their goal, Lu Yuan stepped into the storage chamber. Sure enough, the entire room was stacked full of fuel barrels. "Thank goodness, we've solved our biggest supply headache at last." Lu Yuan let out a long breath of relief. To Wang Bingbing's stunned gaze, he waved a hand casually, and every barrel of fuel vanished into his infinite storage space. He had never planned to disclose the details of his spatial ability to her, yet there was no way to rationalize how he'd moved such a massive quantity of fuel. He decided it was simpler to just let her witness the power directly. To his relief, Wang Bingbing looked utterly astonished, but wisely kept all questions to herself. "Time to head back." Lu Yuan nodded toward her, motioning for them to retrace their steps. "Wait a second, Captain, do you hear something?" Just as Lu Yuan was about to lead the retreat, Wang Bingbing grabbed his arm, her expression heavy with vigilance. "A sound?" Lu Yuan knitted his brows and held his breath to listen carefully. Patters, patters, patters. When both fell silent, steady footsteps echoed from down the corridor. "Is there another person here?" Wang Bingbing turned to Lu Yuan and asked nervously. "I highly doubt it." Lu Yuan rolled his eyes at her question. "This is designated as a solo player port. What does that mean for us?" "Get ready for combat." Lu Yuan pulled her back into the storage room and slammed the door shut. He peered out through the window to observe their surroundings. A dozen seconds later, a lumbering sham figure drifted into their line of sight. Ding. Detected 1 grade, 3 infected host. Type, agility variant. Trait. This agile infected boasts extraordinary movement speed and charges targets recklessly. Proceed with extreme caution. Damn it, a grade 3 infected. Lu Yuan's face paled with shock upon reading the system prompt. What do we do now, Captain? Wang Bingbing had vivid memories of their run-in with a grade 2 infected the previous day, and panic crept into her tone. Calm down. I've got a handgun, and you have your bow and arrows. We can take it down. Just like the old saying goes in this maritime survival game. The rougher the seas, the greater the rewards. Lu Yuan spoke in a steady tone to soothe her nerves. We'll lure it over to us. I was terrified of these infected before I had a firearm. There's no reason to back down now that I'm armed. Got it. Lu Yuan's composed demeanor calmed Wang Bingbing's anxiety, and she joined him watching the corridor through the window on the door. The infected could track their general location via scent, but could not pinpoint their exact hiding spot. It shuffled back and forth in the corridor directly outside their door, letting out low, guttural growls the whole time. Grade 3 infected sure aren't the sharpest tools in the shed, Lu Yuan muttered, growing impatient watching the creature wander aimlessly. Bang! Bang! He fired 2 shots to shatter the glass panel on the door, brushing away sharp shards while keeping his eyes locked on the infected's reaction. Exactly as he predicted, the gunfire gave away their hiding spot instantly. The infected bolted toward the door at speeds matching an Olympic sprinter. It's incredibly fast. Aim carefully. Lu Yuan marveled at the creature's swift movement, true to its agility classification. Before Lu Yuan finished his sentence, the infected slammed violently against the chamber door. Boom. The door held firm against the brutal impact. Lu Yuan paid no mind to Wang Bingbing for the moment and fired his weapon immediately through the broken window. Unfortunately, the narrow opening limited his aim, and the bullet only grazed the infected's arm. Wounded and enraged, the creature slammed into the door with even greater ferocity. Lu Yuan could see its bloodshot, crimson eyes glaring straight at him through the cracked glass. Damn it! Missing his clean shot made Lu Yuan step closer to the window and unleash a rapid barrage of gunfire. Bang! 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 Even with its heightened agility, the infected had nowhere to dodge the relentless point-blank gunfire within the tight corridor space. Crack! One final bullet struck the infected square in the head, blowing away nearly half of its skull. Wang Bingbing finished it off. Lu Yuan snapped her out of her frozen stupor with a sharp shout. Right! Jolted back to focus. Wang Bingbing knocked arrows to her longbow and loosed 3 shots in quick succession at the mortally wounded infected. Thwack! 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 Before Lu Yuan could react, all 3 arrows pierced straight through the creature's ruined cranium. Nicely done. Lu Yuan had not held high hopes for the panicked young woman, but she had proven her capability in the heat of battle. The infected collapsed heavily to the ground the instant the 3rd arrow embedded itself in its brain matter. Ding! Congratulations, Captain. You have secured your first kill against a grade 3 infected host. The system notification echoed across the platform. The moment the alert faded, both Lu Yuan and Wang Bingbing slumped to the floor, drained from the harrowing fight they had just survived. Ding! This is the first recorded grade 3 infected elimination in Sector C857857. Distributing exclusive first kill rewards alongside a region-wide public announcement now. Ding! Please claim your first kill reward chest. Perfect. Lu Yuan perked up instantly when a reward chest materialized out of thin air beside him. He had never expected to claim the sector's first grade 3 infected takedown. Captain, this is a grade 4 treasure chest. Wang Bingbing had regained her composure and hurried over to inspect the chest excitedly. That's an outstanding haul. Lu Yuan nodded. Store it away for now. Collect the loot dropped by the infected outside. Then we head straight back to the ship. Understood. Wang Bingbing carefully moved the chest over to Lu Yuan's side. The pair stepped back out into the corridor to retrieve the second chest lying beside the infected's corpse. Lu Yuan waved his hand to store the grade 3 chest, then knelt beside the infected's body and activated his soul absorption skill. A few seconds later, a notification confirmed 1 permanent point had been added to his base stats. He gestured for Wang Bingbing to follow him as they departed the drilling platform. Let's put some distance between us and this platform first. Once they returned to their vessel, Lu Yuan skipped checking their newly acquired supplies for the time being. He poured the salvaged fuel into the ship's tank and steered the Grade 2 boat away from the port area without delay. He was not fearful of additional threats lingering on the platform, but ports generate destructive whirlpools upon their scheduled disappearance, which could easily drag their ship down into the depths. After cruising away for more than 10 minutes, Lu Yuan pulled out the 2 treasure chests under Wang Bingbing's eager gaze. One Grade 3, one Grade 4. Their expedition to the drilling platform had yielded unprecedented rewards so early in the game. Bingbing, you open the chests. Lu Yuan noticed her eager expression and gestured for her to take charge of unlocking them. Hee, I won't hold back then. She walked over to the higher-tier chest. Let's open the Grade 4 one first. She glanced toward Lu Yuan for confirmation, then lifted the lid of the Grade 4 chest. Ding. Contracted user has opened the treasure chest. Obtained. Grade 3 ship upgrade blueprint ×1, multi-source power supply module blueprint ×1, multi-source heating system blueprint ×1. Contract bonus applied. Actual inventory received. Grade 3 ship upgrade blueprint ×2, multi-source power supply module blueprint ×2, multi-source heating system blueprint ×2. Amazing, these blueprints will fix all our core living needs. Lu Yuan grinned widely. A steady power supply would let their seawater purifier run non-stop, meaning he could reassign his exclusive infinite use passive skill to other critical equipment instead. Captain, these are only construction blueprints. I'm not sure how much practical help they'll be for you. Wang Bingbing flipped through every item inside the chest, looking slightly discouraged by the lack of tangible goods. Don't underestimate these blueprints. They're incredibly valuable, practically priceless commodities across the entire maritime survival game. Lu Yuan quickly reassured her. His statement held absolute truth. These 3 schematics were some of the most sought-after hard currency among all active players. Thanks to their contractual bond, he had received double copies of every blueprint. Most players prioritized ship upgrade blueprints above everything else at this stage of the game. But Lu Yuan knew the power and heating system blueprints would become far more coveted resources later on. Once the novice protection phase expired, the entire game world would plunge into a brutal global cold snap as the first major environmental disaster. Open the Grade 3 chest next. Lu Yuan pushed the thought of the upcoming frigid apocalypse aside and nodded toward the remaining reward container. Ding. Contracted user has opened the treasure chest. Obtained. Exorcism light ×1, regenerative blanket ×1, lamb slices ×10, complete kitchenware set ×1, timber ×500, metal scrap ×500, plastic materials ×500. Contract bonus applied. Actual inventory received. Exorcism light ×2, regenerative blanket ×2, lamb slices ×20, complete kitchenware set ×2, timber ×1000, metal scrap ×1000, plastic materials ×1000. Whoa, the Grade 3 chest loot is just as fantastic. Lu Yuan's eyes widened at the full list of supplies. He stepped forward immediately to examine the 2 special utility items in detail. Item name, Exorcism Light. Category, Functional Tool. Quality, B class. Description, emits bright illumination when powered on. Creates a 1-meter protective perimeter around the ship that repels low-level spectral and paranormal entities. Requires a stable power source to function. This is an incredible find. Lu Yuan looked at the lamp, elated knowing he now possessed the matching power supply blueprint to run it without issue. He set the lamp down and pulled up the stats for the second special item. Item name, Regenerative Blanket. Category, Living Supply. Quality, B class. Description, restores physical stamina gradually while the user sleeps. We can test its effects tonight during rest. I can't believe how generous the game rewards are right now. Lu Yuan let out a baffled laugh. When he first entered this deadly maritime game, securing a single bottle of fresh water had been a grueling struggle. They were still within the novice protection window, yet their supplies and gear had improved drastically. Captain, what do you think of all these items we've collected? Wang Bingbing had finished reviewing every reward. While she recognized their utility, she knew Lu Yuan made all final decisions regarding resource allocation. They're perfect, every single one. Lu Yuan glanced over at Wang Bingbing, whose face carried a warm, relieved glow after surviving the dangerous platform mission together. He cleared his throat to refocus his train of thought. Once we're sorted out, check the public chat channel on your maritime log. We'll upgrade the ship first, then assemble the new blueprints we've acquired wherever possible. Understood, Captain. Wang Bingbing picked up on the subtle shift in Lu Yuan's tone and offered a soft smile, before busying herself with resource trades on the logbook interface. One more thing, we're having hot pot for dinner tonight. Check the trade marketplace for dipping sauces, if any are available. Lu Yuan called out as she finished organizing the stockpile of materials. Will do right away. Wang Bingbing's heart skipped a beat at the mention of a proper hot pot meal. She had seen countless desperate pleas for basic food and water flooding the global chat channel. And her current stable, comfortable life was entirely thanks to aligning herself with Lu Yuan. A quiet fondness stirred in her chest as she watched Lu Yuan settle cross-legged to browse the public forum on his maritime log. Ding. Detected. Wang Bingbing's sense of trust and reliance toward you has deepened. Resource return multiplier updated. Current multiplier equals 3x. Lu Yuan paused mid-scroll across the forum threads at the sudden system alert. He lifted his head to meet Wang Bingbing's gaze, and she quickly looked away with faint pink color rising across her cheeks from being caught staring. Guess she's just really looking forward to tonight's hot pot meal. Lu Yuan could only attribute Wang Bingbing's shift in demeanor to one single factor. The only non-game related topic they had discussed moments ago was his reminder that they would have hot pot for dinner tonight. Shrugging his shoulders, Lu Yuan jotted down this quirk of hers, planning to test her reaction again sometime later. A total foodie. Foodies are great. I wonder what her favorite dishes might be. He glanced down at his supreme bone for no apparent reason, and a jumble of indistinct scenes flashed through his mind, unbidden. Shaking his head to clear those messy thoughts away, Lu Yuan's gaze drifted back to the chat channel on his nautical log. The channel was now a scene of mixed fortunes for every player online. Brave participants who had come to grips with reality had stockpiled a decent amount of resources over the 3-day newbie phase. Meanwhile, the more timid players had been huddling in the corners of their vessels, clinging to the futile hope that this terrifying experience was nothing but a nightmare. Hey guys, does anyone have spare food to spare me some? Get lost, don't beg for handouts here. Come on, can't we look out for each other? Most of us go to the same school anyway. You're so quick to play the saint. If you're that charitable, hand over your own supplies to him. Quit being so snappy. I don't have any extra provisions myself. Then shut your mouth if you've got nothing to offer. Trash talk flooded the chat channel nonstop, giving Lu Yuan a splitting headache. He even briefly wondered if the game had customer support, so he could submit a request to enable sensitive word filtering. Buying large quantities of lumber, metal, and plastic. Message me privately with your asking price. As soon as Lu Yuan sent the message, it unsurprisingly sparked a fresh uproar across the entire channel. Whoa, this is what a top-tier player looks like, constantly buying up materials every single day. Brother Lu Yuan, this is Ma Guanghao. We could strike up a partnership. Cut the crap, Ma Guanghao. The junk you had on your boat was barely usable. Serves you right for mismanaging your own goods. Don't pin that on me. Mark my words, I'll settle this score face-to-face if our paths ever cross. Bring it on, I'll be waiting. This Ma Guanghao is actually pretty interesting. Reading their exchange in the chat log, Lu Yuan wore a faint smile, as memories from his past life resurfaced. He spawned with a cargo ship at the start, so he had plenty of daily necessities right off the bat. That's why he's so cocky. Wang Bingbing spoke up from beside him. That guy was trouble back at school too. He harassed me once after the game launched, though I ignored him completely. A cargo ship, huh? That's quite promising. A smirk tugged at Lu Yuan's lips upon hearing this. This fat target was someone he planned to take advantage of sooner or later. He filed the thought away for later, not rushing to figure out the specifics of how to act on it for the time being. Tuning out the noisy chatter in the channel, Lu Yuan pulled up his blueprint interface next. First on his list was the blueprint for upgrading to a Tier 3 ship. Opening it, he saw the list of required materials laid out clearly before his eyes. Tier 3 ship upgrade requirements. Lumber times 500, metal times 600, plastic times 700, energy core times 1. All required materials have been acquired. Proceed with the upgrade? Upgrade. Lu Yuan confirmed the selection. Just like his previous upgrades, the blueprint instantly absorbed all consumed materials. A burst of bright light erupted, and his original Tier 2 ship began transforming right before his eyes. Captain, are we upgrading the vessel right now? Though she had never witnessed a ship upgrade firsthand, Wang Bingbing quickly guessed what Lu Yuan was doing. That's right. Watch closely. Lu Yuan nodded, standing side by side with Wang Bingbing to wait for the Tier 3 ship's renovation to finish. After a flurry of mechanical shifts and glowing energy surges, the upgrade process finally concluded. An extra deck had been added to the original 2-story hull, and Lu Yuan could feel that the ship's structural composition was far sturdier than its previous iteration. Once the golden radiance faded, Lu Yuan knew the most valuable reward was yet to come. With that thought in mind, he opened his nautical log once more. Name, 3-deck iron vessel tonnage. 1.5 level, LV3 durability, 150 armament, none physical defense, 90 capable of withstanding assaults from low level and select mid-level mutated creatures. Magic resistance, 0. You have yet to discover a method to bolster your ship's magic defenses, Captain. Storage capacity, 70. Description, a robust 3-deck iron ship. Well done, Captain. This craft will grant you reliable protection during your future voyages across the open ocean. Lu Yuan wore a faint grin as he scanned the ship's stats. The improvements brought by the Tier 3 upgrade itself were trivial in his eyes. He cared far more about the additional auxiliary unlocks and the newly rolled golden trait. The moment the thought crossed his mind, a system notification chimed inside his head. Ding! Captain has successfully upgraded the ship. Commencing golden trait roll. A golden roulette wheel, visible only to Lu Yuan, materialized in front of him. After spinning for several seconds, the pointer came to a halt on one segment. Hex deck? What exactly is this? Lu Yuan stared at the marked section, thoroughly confused. Ding. Hex deck trait. The host may infuse non-blueprint crafted weaponry with hex deck evolution. A weapon's base quality dictates its maximum upgrade potential. Naturally, a grade D weapon cannot be elevated all the way to divine tier through this ability. Whoa, this trait is insanely useful. Lu Yuan grew visibly excited after reading the full trait description. As expected, the greatest reward from ship upgrades was never the hull improvements themselves. Captain, what has you so elated? Unable to see the trait rolling process, Wang Bingbing questioned him curiously. Upgrading to Tier 3 unlocked an incredible new function for our ship. I need to test it out right away. Lu Yuan glanced at Wang Bingbing, then gestured toward the sheathed bow in her hands. Hand that bow over for a second. Of course. She complied obediently, confused about his intentions. Hex deck, upgrade this bow. Clutching the wooden bow, Lu Yuan activated his newly acquired hex deck ability. Ding. Hex deck activated. Target for evolution, grade C bow. Processing in progress. Lu Yuan stood motionless before the weapon, waiting patiently for the process to complete. Several minutes later, the completion alert sounded off. Name, blazing longbow type. Weapon quality, grade A. Description, arrows loosed from this bow wreathe in blazing flames, capable of incinerating nearly anything they strike. Holy hell, hex deck really lives up to its name. Lu Yuan hefted the newly transformed longbow, letting out a low whistle of admiration. Give it a shot, Bing Bing. He passed the bow back to her, gesturing for her to test its power. Understood, Captain. Wang Bingbing had watched the bow's transformation unfold in real time. As her fingers wrapped around the weapon, she could feel its enhanced power surging from within, filling her with delight. She drew the string and loosed an arrow in one fluid, seamless motion. The spot where the arrow slammed into the ocean's surface instantly billowed with scalding hot steam. What in the world just happened? Wang Bingbing stared in shock at the fiery effect left by her arrow after the burst of luminous energy faded. Stay calm. This is a unique ability exclusive to our Tier 3 ship. It lets us enhance our weapons. Lu Yuan explained with a chuckle before shifting topics. How did the resource gathering go that I tasked you with? He had sent her to barter supplies with other players right after they looted the treasure chest earlier, and he wanted an update on her haul. 1,000 units of metal, 800 units of lumber, and 1,200 units of plastic. I couldn't get hold of any other materials for now. Wang Bingbing scratched her head awkwardly, clearly disappointed with her results. That's more than acceptable. Let me check what auxiliary structures we can unlock with the Tier 3 ship upgrade. Lu Yuan was quite satisfied with her haul. Apart from rare lucky outliers like Zhang Long, the vast majority of rookie players barely had any resources to speak of after the 3-day newbie period. He pulled up his nautical log once again to view the newly unlocked auxiliary build options. 4 auxiliary facilities are available for Tier 3 ships: greenhouse, science laboratory, training hall, and restorative nutrition pod. Captain may select freely for construction. Lu Yuan frowned slightly upon seeing the list. He wanted to build all 4 facilities, yet lacked sufficient materials for everything at once. Ding. You are the first player in Zone C857857 to own a Tier 3 ship, distributing exclusive rewards and issuing a zone-wide system broadcast now. Wait, what? Lu Yuan was caught off guard by the sudden system prompt, never expecting a second global announcement on the very same day. Captain, we've been awarded a Tier 4 treasure chest. Wang Bingbing heard the notification as well, rushing over to hand the glowing Tier 4 chest to Lu Yuan with bright excitement in her eyes. Open it at once. Lu Yuan nodded toward the chest, letting Wang Bingbing pry it open. Got it. Wang Bingbing's hands had been hovering eagerly beside the chest, and she pried the container open the second she received his command. Ding! Contractor has opened the treasure chest. Loot obtained. 1 by 14.5 millimeters ship-mounted machine gun blueprint, 200 standard rounds, 100 incendiary rounds, 1 times anti-magic barrier blueprint, 500 lumber, 500 metal, 500 plastic. Activating reward multiplier bonus. 3 by 14.5 millimeters ship-mounted machine gun blueprint, 600 standard rounds, 300 incendiary rounds, 3 times anti-magic barrier blueprint, 1,500 lumber, 1,500 metal, 1,500 plastic. Now this is what it feels like to be the protagonist of a power fantasy novel. A wide grin stretched across Lu Yuan's face as he stared at the mountain of newly acquired resources. Captain, we have more than enough materials to construct most of our new facilities today. Wang Bingbing marveled at the full list of rewards. The ship-mounted firearm and anti-magic barrier blueprint in particular wrapped her in a strong sense of safety. She had never felt before out on the ocean. Prioritize installing the weapon systems first. Lu Yuan retrieved the 2 blueprints immediately after nodding at her comment. Name, ship-mounted machine gun blueprint type, blueprint quality, grade B description, a weapon balancing formidable firepower and practical portability. Ordinary vengeful spirits and mutated beasts stand no chance against its barrage. Construction materials required. 200 lumber, 500 metal, 400 plastic. Name, anti-magic barrier blueprint type, blueprint quality, grade B description. Reinforces both the hull and crew's magic resistance. Essential defense against high-tier mutated creatures encountered in later voyages. Construction materials required. 200 lumber, 500 metal, 400 plastic. We have enough materials to build both pieces of equipment today for sure. Lu Yuan confirmed the material requirements and confirmed the construction process for both projects. 2 streaks of golden light shot upward toward the ship's top deck the moment he finalized his selection. While the ship underwent structural modifications for the new hardware, Lu Yuan returned his attention to the nautical log. The zone chat channel was buzzing non-stop with discussion sparked by his Tier 3 ship upgrade. Is this the legendary top-tier player? 2 global broadcasts in a single day. Top player, would you take a companion? I'm capable of handling all sorts of chores. I'm barely scraping by with a Tier 1 ship, and this guy's already sailing a Tier 3 vessel. The matching algorithm for this game is definitely broken. Captain, you've hit the spotlight once again. Wang Bingbing glanced over the chat messages and teased Lu Yuan lightly. Pay it no mind. Keep sourcing more supplies. I aim to finish building the power supply unit and heating module before the day ends. Lu Yuan brushed off the hubbub from other players without a second thought. This was the final day of the newbie protection period, yet these players wasted time bickering mindlessly, oblivious to the real mortal dangers lurking within this ocean world. Lu Yuan cast aside any fleeting urge to offer assistance and posted another resource purchase notice to the public channel. Purchasing all types of bulk resources. Send offers via private message. He then switched over to his private message inbox. These past 2 days had been Lu Yuan's most prominent stretch of progress, so his private messages had been flooding in non-stop. He had ignored most of them until now, swamped with urgent tasks and faced with countless meaningless idle messages. The very first message waiting in his inbox was sent by Zhang Long, the player who had figured out a way to harvest massive volumes of lumber. Brother Lu, you there? I'm looking to arrange a trade with you. Zhang Long cut straight to the point. What are you looking to trade for? Lu Yuan replied instantly. Do you happen to have extra ship upgrade blueprints? There was a short pause before Zhang Long sent his request. What are you offering in exchange? Lu Yuan's reply came within a split second. Awesome. I knew you had spare blueprints. Relief washed over Zhang Long at Lu Yuan's lack of immediate refusal. Certain the captain held surplus upgrade plans. Zhang Long had spawned with a lumber barge, a vessel naturally designed to passively collect driftwood from the ocean, while enabling highly efficient logging operations on coastal land masses with its onboard tools. He had also awakened a unique lumberjack talent and managed to dock at a forested coastline on the very first day of the game. Over these 3 days, his lumber trading had earned him every material needed for a Tier 3 ship upgrade. Only the corresponding blueprint was missing. Lu Yuan was the only person he could think of to obtain one from. Having claimed the first Tier 3 zombie kill and become the first Tier 3 ship owner, Lu Yuan's reputation had spread across the entire game zone. 5,000 units of lumber for 1 Tier 3 ship blueprint. Zhang Long weighed his stockpile and sent his best possible offer after a moment of deliberation. Deal. Lu Yuan's eyes widened at the offer. He had suspected Zhang Long held substantial lumber reserves, yet he never imagined the stockpile would be this enormous. The Tier 3 blueprint was completely useless to him at his current stage, so trading it for 5,000 lumber units was an overwhelmingly profitable deal. A system ding marked the successful completion of their transaction. Lu Yuan was about to browse messages from other sellers for plastic and metal when the fishing rod fixed to the bow suddenly began thrashing violently back and forth. Both Lu Yuan and Wang Bingbing immediately dropped their nautical logs and sprinted toward the bow upon hearing the commotion. The fishing pole was shaking wildly, leaving both of them stunned by the violent movement. "We've hooked something huge." Lu Yuan swallowed hard, rushing forward to reel in the fishing line. He tussled against the unseen sea creature pulling the line for a long, while before a 1-meter-long Spanish mackerel leaped out of the seawater. Wang Bingbing reacted swiftly, leaning over the railing to haul the thrashing fish onto the deck in one smooth motion. Surprisingly, this is a completely ordinary sea fish. Wang Bingbing stared at the live fish flopping across the deck and sighed in wonder. "Have you run into mutated fish before?" Lu Yuan turned to ask her. "A small predatory fish attacked me on the first day. I barely escaped with my life." Wang Bingbing answered. "I grew up living by the sea, Captain. How about a fish hot pot for dinner tonight? Did you manage to get dipping sauce ingredients like I asked?" "Traded fresh water to get them. No problem at all. Then we'll have regular hot pot paired with fish hot pot tonight." Lu Yuan's appetite spiked sharply at the thought of a hearty meal. Though protected by newbie safety rules these past few days, his nerves had been constantly taut from constant vigilance. A satisfying dinner was exactly what he needed to ease his accumulated stress. "Leave the fish cleaning to me, Captain. I'll get it prepped right away." Wang Bingbing grinned cheerfully and headed for the bow to process the catch. A full set of kitchenware looted from their previous treasure chest was perfect for cooking tonight's meal. Meanwhile, Lu Yuan hurried to finish constructing the multi-energy power supply unit to avoid eating cold food later on. Name: Multi-Energy Power Supply Module Blueprint Type. Blueprint Quality: Grade B. Description: This module draws power from any energy source to supply electricity across the entire vessel, bringing vital illumination and power to every corner of the ship. Construction materials required: 400 lumber, 600 metal, 500 plastic. Construct this immediately. Confirming his materials met the listed requirements, Lu Yuan finalized the build order. While the power supply unit began assembling itself, Lu Yuan climbed up to the top deck. The newly installed ship-mounted machine gun sat firmly in place alongside a skull-marked activation button. Lu Yuan gazed upon the firearm, thoroughly impressed by its imposing design. The machine gun was locked securely onto a hydraulic rotating base with a matte dark gray finish. Its thick barrel stretched straight forward, lined with dense cooling rings along the barrel wall. The muzzle tapered inward toward a pitch-black chamber, resembling a dormant predatory beast hungry for its prey. Custom protective plating covered the receiver for open sea combat, with a large feed slot mounted to the side. Neatly coiled ammunition belts rested within the ammo box, lined up like disciplined soldiers awaiting deployment. Now this is the kind of hardware every man would love to wield. Lu Yuan reached out to inspect the gun, eager to test its firepower. He steadied the firearm, lined up his aim, and squeezed the trigger. Rat-a-tat-tat-tat. Bright tongues of fire erupted from the muzzle, blazing half a meter long amid the salty sea breeze as the fiery discharge streaked far out across the ocean's surface. Countless nearly transparent ballistic streaks poured forth densely, sweeping toward the targets ahead under Lu Yuan's control. Whoa, no wonder it's a shipboard machine gun. This firepower is absolutely insane. Watching the distant targets vanish under sustained fire, Lu Yuan let out a long breath of relief. With this weapon in hand, clearing the game stages over the next few days would become far less challenging. "Captain, was that the full power of the shipboard machine gun just now?" Wang Bing had finished cleaning the freshly caught fish and climbed up to the deck just in time to witness the shooting sequence. "Yep, pretty impressive, isn't it?" Lu Yuan grinned when he spotted her arrival. "Absolutely. You're the best, Captain." Wang Bing giggled and hurried to his side. "Staying with you makes me feel so much safer out here." "Ahem, that's good to hear." Lu Yuan awkwardly pulled his arm away after feeling her brush lightly against his bicep. "Have you finished prepping all the ingredients?" "I have." Seemingly oblivious to his awkwardness, Wang Bing asked straight away. "Shall we eat now, Captain?" "Hold on a moment. I need to test this anti-demon shield first." Lu Yuan nodded and pressed a skull-shaped button mounted beside the shipboard machine gun. Whoosh. The instant the button depressed, a faint white beam shot outward, quickly coalescing into a thin mist-like barrier that wrapped entirely around the vessel. Lu Yuan opened his navigation log and checked the ship's stats. Its magic resistance value had jumped from 0 to 30. Not bad at all. This should hold up fine. Coupled with his demon-repelling lamps, his experience from his previous playthrough told him these two defenses would carry him safely through the period right after the newbie protection phase expired. Captain, are we ready for dinner now? Wang Bing had not bothered checking the navigation log, simply squatting quietly beside him and waiting patiently for him to finish his work. Right, let's head down. Lu Yuan felt slightly flustered by her attentive demeanor and offered a faint smile before following her down to the lounge on the lower deck. The power supply module was running steadily, and steam curled upward from the boiling hot pot broth on the table. Staring at the neatly arranged ingredients beside the pot, Lu Yuan fell into a brief daze. Was this really the brutal doomsday survival game everyone was trapped in? After you, Captain. Wang Bing quickly stepped forward, guiding him by the arms to take a seat at the table while she knelt respectfully beside him, ready to attend to his every need. Bing Bing, there's no need for such formal deference. Lu Yuan scratched the tip of his nose uncomfortably. There's only one chair for seating anyway. Let me cook the fish slices for you. Without waiting for his refusal, Wang Bing dropped slices of fresh fish into the simmering broth. She acted with such devotion because she had seen the miserable fates of countless other players in the public chat channel. Some had wasted away to skin and bones after only 3 days. Others were stuck adrift on tiny flimsy boats. Many split a single bottle of water into 4 portions to ration across each day. Every comfort she currently enjoyed was solely thanks to Lu Yuan. She also knew Lu Yuan might form contractual bonds with other survivors later, so she was determined to cement her position beside him while she still had the chance. Snap a photo and post it to the global chat channel to show everyone our current living conditions, Lu Yuan said as he ate from the hot pot. Understood, Captain. Though confused by his motive, Wang Bing complied obediently and uploaded the picture. Tell me anything you're craving to eat later, and we can trade for supplies accordingly, Lu Yuan said once she finished sending the message. Thank you, Captain. Wang Bing bowed her head softly. I'm finished eating. I'm going to take a shower. Could you tidy up the dining area? Too preoccupied with his own plans to notice her lingering gaze, Lu Yuan polished off his meal quickly and headed for the bathroom. The newbie protection period would end tomorrow, leaving him with a long list of critical tasks to complete. After Lu Yuan vanished into the bathroom, Wang Bing sat quietly until she heard the sound of running water. Mustering up her courage, she walked toward the bathroom door. Knock, knock, knock. The knocking pulled Lu Yuan's attention mid-shower. What's up? He knew only Wang Bing would come find him at this hour. Captain, would you like me to scrub your back? Her voice came hesitantly from outside the door. Nah, I'm good. Finish cleaning up and get some rest early. Wang Bing's cheeks flushed bright red, a flicker of petty frustration stirring in her chest at his response. Actually, I have something important to discuss with you right now. She spoke up again after a few seconds, stealing her resolve. What's so urgent? Worried there might be a fault with the ship, Lu Yuan hurried toward the door. It's nothing serious. The moment Lu Yuan pulled the door open, Wang Bing set aside all her timidity and stepped forward to embrace him tightly. Lu Yuan was caught off guard by her sudden rush, feeling the soft warmth of her body pressed against his own. Hey, what are you doing? A sheltered young man with little romantic experience, Lu Yuan tensed up instantly and tried to gently pull her away, his heart racing wildly in his chest. You asked what I wanted to eat earlier. I think I've figured it out, Wang Bing murmured, looping her arms firmly around his waist. And me? What is it exactly? Lu Yuan's mind went blank from nervousness, barely able to form coherent sentences. Sensing his obvious fluster, Wang Bing smiled softly and leaned into him. A warm, soothing sensation washed over Lu Yuan from head to toe, easing all his inner tension and unease. Peace and quiet settled over the captain's lounge for the rest of the night as the two grew far closer to one another. Several hours later, Lu Yuan lay on the bed staring at the ceiling, glancing down at Wang Bing curled safely in his arms with a strong sense of surrealism. The physical stat boosts from this life had gifted him entirely new sensations, vastly different from his past relationship with Li Wei in his previous life. His self-description as an inexperienced young man only applied to his current timeline. Just as he was replaying the night's events in his mind, a system notification chimed in his head. Ding! A deeper bond has been formed between the captain and contracted partner. Updating resource rebate multiplier accordingly. Ding! Activating golden staff talent. Rebate multiplier set to ×10 for contracted partner Wang Bing. Holy hell! Lu Yuan exclaimed out loud in shock at the system prompt. Captain, do you need anything else? Wang Bing stirred sleepily in his embrace, lifting her head with drowsy, muddled eyes. No, nothing at all. Get some more sleep. Lu Yuan gently tucked her head back under the blanket and pulled the covers snugly over both of them. His physique had improved drastically compared to his past life, yet the emotional intimacy of the evening had still left him drained. I still have an unassigned free attribute point left. Lu Yuan suddenly recalled the reward he'd earned from slaying a level 3 zombie the previous day. Assign this point to Constitution. Even after the emotionally taxing night, he craved to push his physical capabilities even further. Ding. Free attribute point allocated. Current Constitution stat, 52, perfect, just perfect. Satisfied with his upgraded stats, Lu Yuan finally drifted into a deep sleep. The rest of the night passed without incident. Lu Yuan woke the next morning to a pleasant aroma drifting through the cabin. He blinked at the empty spot beside him on the bed, the faint scent of Wang Bing still lingering in the air. He shook his head and smiled to himself. This golden staff talent really is game-changing. He swung his legs over the edge of the bed just as Wang Bing appeared in the doorway. Good morning, Captain. Traces of soft blush still lingered on her face from the previous night. The youthful awkwardness in her features had faded, replaced by gentle feminine warmth. Morning. I slept really well last night. Thank you for everything, Lu Yuan said warmly. It's my duty to take care of you, Wang Bing replied, her cheeks flushing faintly once more. Drop the formal captain title from now on. It feels too distant. Call me Yuan Gu instead. Got it, Yuan Gu. I made fish soup for breakfast. Have it while it's hot. Wang Bing walked over and handed him the steaming bowl. This smells incredible. I thought we finished all our fish yesterday. I pulled these fresh catches up through the super trawl net early this morning, Wang Bing explained. I'd completely forgotten we had that piece of equipment. Lu Yuan smacked his forehead at the oversight. I've moved all the goods from the trawl into the ship's storage vault for you to sort later. But you should check the navigation log's public chat channel first, Wang Bing said with a faint smile. What's going on over there? Curious, Lu Yuan drained the soup quickly and opened his navigation log interface. The entire public feed was flooded with messages mentioning him. Yuan Gu, please spare some food for us. Are you kidding me? We're starving and freezing out here while he's living in luxury with a companion. Everyone ought to stand up against him. Yuan Gu, that guy named Wang Yang has been bad-mouthing you. I'll take him out for you if you want. If you're looking for more partners, I'm skilled at all sorts of things. I can keep you comfortable in every way. These people have lost their minds. Lu Yuan frowned at the flood of frantic messages directed his way. Remember the photo I posted yesterday? Wang Bing chuckled. People figured out this ship belongs to you, which sparked all this commotion. Some sharp minds in our original class. I'll give them that. Lu Yuan laughed and typed a public message directly into the channel. Same terms as always, permanent resource purchasing. Send your offers via private message. He closed the chat window immediately after posting the notice, with plenty of pressing tasks lined up for the day. His single message sent the public chat spiraling into another wave of chaotic discussion. No one felt the sting of regret more deeply than Bai Shui, whom Lu Yuan had once hoped to sign a contract with. Bai Shui had long shed her haughty, arrogant demeanor after days of brutal survival struggles. She tried scavenging supplies at the shore docks twice, once fleeing in terror from roaming zombies, the other time returning with barely enough food to stave off starvation. As a well-known figure back at school, her private messages were swamped with unwanted advances from other survivors, all of whom clearly had ulterior motives for trading resources with her. To make matters worse, every man messaging her put on an arrogant facade despite struggling just as badly to survive. When she saw Lu Yuan's announcement in the public channel, sheer disbelief washed over her. The man she'd once written off as just another opportunist had amassed such abundant supplies in only 3 short days, while she was still stranded aboard a tiny, 0-level dinghy. What if I hadn't turned down his contract offer back then? Would I be living safely like this now? After other users confirmed the ship in Wang Bing's photograph belonged to Lu Yuan, Bai Shui's composure finally crumbled. She reached for her messaging interface to ask if his original contract proposal still stood, yet her stubborn pride held her back. I can survive this doomsday relying solely on my own hard work. She stared bleakly at her rickety small boat and forced a surge of determination into her heart. Right as the thought crossed her mind, the cold mechanical tone of the game system echoed inside every player's head. Ding. All players, the newbie protection phase is drawing to a close. Survivors may view updated official game rules via the navigation log. Current day, Day 4 region code, C857857. Weather today, overcast, 15 degrees Celsius. Northerly wind surviving players. 99,000/original 100,000 dock access countdown. 5 hours remaining mandatory voyage expedition countdown. 7 days remaining. Rewards for clearing the third day trial have been distributed near each vessel. Collect your rewards at your convenience. Official gameplay regulations effective immediately. After the game officially launches, a wall of black mist will materialize behind every player's vessel, advancing forward at 10 nautical miles per hour. Any player caught within the mist will be instantly eliminated. You must reach the designated safe zone within 7 days to survive. Real-time coordinates for players. The mist wall and safe zone are viewable on the navigation log. Docks will continue to spawn daily after launch. Players may choose to explore docks based on their own risk assessment. 3. Mutated sea creatures will attack all vessels every single night from launch until safe zone arrival. Remain vigilant at all times. All players must participate in at least one official voyage expedition before the 7-day deadline expires. 5. A global permanent ice age will settle across the map once the game officially begins. Prepare sufficient cold-resistant gear to avoid hypothermia. Are you serious? How are we even supposed to survive this? I'm stuck with a hand-rowed boat, and the safe zone is 1,000 nautical miles away. I have zero chance of making it. I just realized I've been sailing straight toward the mist wall this entire time. Can someone explain what these nightly mutated monster attacks are going to look like? It's over for most of us. Farewell, everyone. The public chat devolved into collective panic and despair once players finished reading the updated harsh rules. Yuan go. Wang Bing stared at Lu Yuan with clear worry in her eyes after reviewing the new mechanics. She checked the navigation log and found their ship sat roughly 700 nautical miles from the safe zone, with the mist wall 300 nautical miles to their stern, a moderate distance with room to maneuver. To her surprise, Lu Yuan wore no trace of anxiety. If anything, a faint spark of excitement glinted in his expression. First, we'll collect today's treasure chest drops and check what dock has spawned nearby. Don't stress over the mutated creature raids at all. Lu Yuan reassured her with a calm smile. You don't think those 2 weapons mounted on the roof are just for show, do you? Wang Bing glanced upward toward the shipboard machine guns fixed to the top deck, her fears fading away instantly. Moments later, the two worked together to haul the 2 daily treasure chests onto the main deck. Great luck, 1 level 1 chest and 1 level 2 chest. Lu Yuan nodded toward the containers and gestured for Wang Bing to open them. This was their first treasure unlock since the times 10 resource rebate from their deepened bond activated. Ding. Contracted partner has opened level 1 treasure chest. Base rewards obtained. Wood times 100, metal times 100, plastic times 100. Applying talent rebate multiplier. Wood times 1,000, metal times 1,000, plastic times 1,000. Level 1 chests mostly yielded raw crafting materials, so this haul was entirely expected. Lu Yuan tilted his chin, signaling her to open the second chest. Ding. Contracted partner has opened level 2 treasure chest. Base rewards obtained. Waterproof cold resistant down jacket times 1. Waterproof cold resistant down pants times 1. Tactical boots times 1. Applying talent rebate multiplier. Waterproof cold resistant down jacket times 10. Waterproof cold resistant down pants times 10. Tactical boots times 10. Whoa, this level 2 chest is absolutely fantastic. Lu Yuan brightened visibly at the reward announcement. With the Ice Age fast approaching, this cold-proof gear would eliminate most environmental survival risks moving forward. These supplies are exactly what we need right now. Wang Bing jumped up in delight upon seeing the equipment inside the chest. It's a shame the base drop only included 1 full set, she muttered with a hint of disappointment. You take the set for yourself. Lu Yuan kept his talent ability a secret and told her to put the gear on without hesitation. Thank you so much. I'll make good use of it. Wang Bing trusted implicitly that Lu Yuan had already secured his own cold weather preparations. Ding. Approaching a solo level 3 dock. Captain, prepare for dock exploration. Looks like we've arrived already. Lu Yuan shrugged and turned toward Wang Bing. Get ready to head ashore. Got it. The moment Wang Bing heard the system notification, she had already grabbed her longbow. Wait a second, I forgot to test putting the pistol into the Hextech enhancement device. As Lu Yuan was going through his equipment, it suddenly occurred to him that his handgun might be eligible for enhancement. After some trial and error, he figured out how the Hextech function worked. It could only upgrade items obtained directly from loot draws, not weapons crafted from blueprints. That meant his Type 92 pistol was upgradable, while the ship-mounted machine gun on the vessel's roof was not. With that thought, Lu Yuan tossed his pistol into the hex deck slot to begin the enhancement process. Ding. Hex deck activated. Upgrading target. Grade C pistol. Please wait. Item name. QBZ 191 Service Rifle Category. Weapon grade. Grade A. Description. Equipped with a red dot sight. Bullets can be imbued with special enchantment effects under certain conditions, paired with several high-capacity drum magazines. Go ahead and unleash your firepower. Holy hell. I struck gold with this upgrade. Lu Yuan jumped straight up in excitement upon seeing the Type 92 pistol transform into a rifle. Congrats, Brother Yuan. Though Wang Bingbing knew little about firearms, she could clearly tell the upgrade was a massive improvement. Seeing a handgun turn into an assault rifle. Hopefully I'll get a chance to test this out soon. Lu Yuan muttered to himself as a port came into view in the distance.